Present.
Senator Reed,
Present.
Senator Smith,
Present.
Senator Varghese,
Present.
Senator Casamoro,
Present.
Senator Corelli,
Present.
Senator Juliqueur. Wait. Senator Kapanos, Senator Lim,
Present.
Senator Sadvika, Senator Scott, Senator Chow,
Present.
Senator Jane,
Present.
Senator Sherman,
Present.
Senator Smith, again,
Present.
Danae Smith, okay. Senator Ali,
Present.
Senator D, Senator Hamid,
Present.
Senator Kaufman,
Present.
Senator Luecht,
Present.
Senator Metellus,
Present.
Senator Prohl,
Present.
Senator Rorcasa,
Present.
Senator Rose,
Present.
Senator Rudy,
Present.
Senator Trejo Hernandez,
Present.
Senator Kaminsky, Senator Fawcett,
Present.
Senator Kidvai,
Present.
Senator Rickett,
President voting.
Senator Chauhan,
Present.
Senator Escobar.
Present.
Did I hear a president? Okay. Senator Nassim, Senator Rodriguez, Senator Wanjan,
Present.
Senator Weiderberg,
Present.
Senator Green, Senator, is it pronounced Wynn? Diana Wynn? Okay.
Present.
Hmm?
Present.
Okay. Senator Bonaventure,
Present.
Senator Perez,
Present.
Senator Alcuda,
Present.
Senator Benesh,
Present.
Senator Candeloro,
Present.
Senator Courts,
Present.
Senator Jones,
Present.
Senator Leon,
Present.
Senator Matthews,
Present.
Senator McRae,
Present.
Senator Nirshima Devra, Senator Renda.
Present.
Was that a present? Could you? Okay. Senator Rosenblum. Senator Rosenblum. Okay. Senator Simmons.
Present.
Senator Teodorescu.
Present.
Senator Varela.
Present.
Senator Zivin.
Present.
Senator Lipner.
Present.
Okay, with a vote count of, wait, hang on. How many people total is it? 47 out of 58. Quorum is verified.
Okay, perfect. The University of Central, the Department of Anthropology respectfully acknowledges that the University of Central Florida is located on the traditional lands of the Ais, Appalachee, Calusa, Timucua, and the Tocobago tribes, as well as the Seminole tribe of Florida and the Miccosukee tribe of Indians of Florida. Everyone take a look at last meeting's minutes, and is there a motion to approve last meeting's minutes?
So moved.
So moved.
Okay, everyone take a look at today's agenda, make sure everything's okay, and is there a motion to approve today's agenda?
So moved.
Anybody here to speak in open forum? Seeing none. Announcements from the student body president, President Blanco.
Good evening, everyone. Hope you all had a great week. This Tuesday, Dreeb and I had a meeting with Dr. Yee, who's a professor and also the director of the Faculty Center for Teaching and Learning. In this, we just discussed his work, developing some new resources for faculty, specifically related to AI fluency and how to use generative AI and what that's going to look like at UCF, as this is something that's ongoing and developing every day. And then today I completed my comprehensive Board of Trustees training in preparation for my first meeting next month, June 11th and 12th. So thank you so much to Office of the President, for coordinating that and, having such a successful orientation. So that's it. Last thing, I'm just super excited to see you all continue to grow in leadership already in your new chairmanships. So I look forward to working with every one of you. And, as we see confirmations for these next 3 weeks, to see everyone grow as student leaders, and just commend everyone for, standing up and coming before us and just really, understanding what it means to be a student leader and what servant leadership really is. So I commend you all for that, and good luck to all the appointees tonight.
Are there any questions for President Blanco? Rickett?
Yes, hello. Thank you, Madam Speaker, and congratulations again, Madam President. I have a question for you. Will we be able to see, or are the certifications for the staff, are they going to be available for everybody to see, or are they kind of, confidential?
Like, in regards to the trainings, like Dr. Yi was kind of talking about posting workshops, and that is still kind of like open for conversation. If you want to learn specifically, we can have a one-on-one meeting to talk about that and what that looks like. I don't want to keep talking ad nauseum, but yes, that will be public.
Okay, thank you so much, Madam President.
Senator Kapanos?
I don't have a specific question for Madam President. I just wanted to let the note that I was here for the voting present for today's session.
All right, Senator Kapanos, present and voting, so noted at 6:10 p.m. Are there any other questions for President Blanco? Seeing none, thank you. Announcements from the student body Vice President Benitez. Then Green.
Oh, my apologies. President voting.
Okay, Senator Green, present and voting, so noted at 6:10 p.m.
Perfect. Well, good evening, Senate. Nice to see everyone again. This week, Lucy and I hopped on a Teams call with Texas Tech University. They'll be in Orlando in July, July 10th, actually, for a conference within the Orlando area. But they reached out to us to coordinate UCF times Texas Tech visit UCF Day. They really are excited to see how we operate our student government, because they have a president, but they also have 3 vice presidents. So it's really cool. And one of their vice presidents is the Speaker of the Senate. So they wanted to come specifically on a Thursday to come see how we run our Senate. So I'm really excited to be showing that along with the rest of our cabinet, if confirmed. We also open up our applications for our graphic design coordinator position, as well as election commissions. They are going to close next Thursday at 11:59, so please continue to spread the word. We post it on the Instagram, so feel free to repost if you know anyone that's good at graphics or wants to get involved with the elections. Feel free to send that out. In addition, I've started planning what ADSB will look like this year. I want to call the meeting before my deadline. There's currently a Senate at large position open, so if you are interested in serving that position with ADSB, reach out to Kirsten or myself, and we can go from there. And then lastly, good luck to all of our appointees going to confirmation tonight.
Any questions for Vice President Benitez? Gaudio?
So you mentioned some of the applications form for election commission, graphic design coordinator. when can we expect the applications for Senate appointments to start opening up?
So we met with Speaker Courts and Pro Temp Hamid, along with me and Lucy, just to discuss the timeline. And then once the Deputy Chief of Staff gets goes through confirmation and gets confirmed, hopefully we'll all just set up another one-on-one meeting to discuss what that timeline will look like, along with the Election Appointments Chair Chair Escobar, just to see how we can go about filling in those seats as the summer is going, so then we can have a full chamber whenever the fall semester starts.
Any other questions? Joliker?
Present and voting.
Okay, Senator Joliker, President voting, so noted at 6:13 p.m. Any more questions for the Vice President? Seeing none. Thank you. Comptroller's report, Comptroller Similo.
Okay, kind of have a sob fest today, but I'm gonna start with good evening, everyone. So for FAO, the balance is gonna be 5,301.20, and reversion is 4.43%, and then CRT is 706.26 with a reversion of 3.86%. So I have a little bit of things that I want to say before I go, but today's a little bittersweet for me. So as many of you guys probably know, this is my final night serving as your comptroller. So many of you know my journey started actually in SGLC, and then I was exploring my opportunities in student government. I wanted to kind of jump right in and get into it. I was eager, unsure, and always passionate about making a difference. So I went into SLC hoping to become a senator, became a senator, served as a senator, and then had the honor of becoming the comptroller, which has been one of the most rewarding experiences of my entire life. I think I've learned so much in this role, and I've grown in so many ways that I didn't expect. Most importantly, I had the privilege of serving alongside most of the people in this room. I know that there's a lot of new senators here, so hi. Be willing to be brave, ask your questions, put your voice out there. These are great opportunities, but as we prepare to hopefully welcome our new comptroller tonight, I just wanted to say thank you for trusting me, for supporting me, for challenging me. While my time in my position may be coming to an end, I'm not going anywhere, so I'm a call or text away. You can let me know if you need anything. I was known as Fiscal Queen for a reason, so if you have anything that you have questions regarding fiscal or regarding literally anything, you need advice, whatever it may be, don't feel threatened or anything to reach out to me. Please do call, text, whatever it is. I'll leave my number in my report, so if you wanted to contact me, you can. But that's it.
All right, any questions for Comptroller Similo? Seeing none. Thank you for everything you've done for us.
Thank you.
Attorney General's report, none. Cabinet forum, none. Announcements from the Interim Chief Justice, Interim Chief Justice Pizarro.
Good evening, Senate. The judicial branch has finally slowed down in our Sky case requests, and with that completed an upward of 17 cases in the past 2 weeks between 5 justices. A huge shout out to all of our justices for handling the unexpected load during our transition period. Seeing that we do have many new senators starting this session, I would like to talk a little bit about our branch. So the Judicial Council is made up of 14 seats, 1 through 7 opening every odd year and 8 through 14 opening every even year. So the odd seats actually, so 1 through 7 open this year. For clarification, there are 3 leadership positions, the Chief Justice and 2 assistants, internal and external, which are in charge of SGLC and GLC programs. Besides leadership, we are made up of 5 different committees, which are working bodies. So those are Internal Rules Committee, IRC Precedent Committee, Judicial Outreach Committee, otherwise known as JOG, Judicial Advertisement and Marketing Committee, JAM, and lastly, Judicial Experience Committee, JEC. All information about our council is on the UCF-SG website alongside our governing documents. And lastly, best of luck to all of the appointees going through confirmation today.
All right, any questions for the Interim Chief Justice? Seeing none, thank you. Announcements from the Supervisor of Elections, none. None. Caucus reports, none. Announcements from the Senate President. Okay. Good evening, Senate. Just a few things from me. We have a lot of confirmations over the next few weeks. So I'm expecting all of you to come to these Senate meetings prepared. Me and Chair Escobar have plans to make sure that you have all of the confirmation material, the ENA minutes, everything. So I really need you guys to come prepared over these minutes. The next few weeks, the way it's going to work is debate will be limited to 1 minute per person. So if you're going to speak in debate, please add something substantial. This is our second meeting of the semester and we have many new people. The conformees qualifications have nothing to do with whether you like them or not, and everything to do with what they can do for student government and the student body. Also, it is our job to ensure the candidates are or are not qualified based on the initiatives and knowledge that they bring to the table. Our job, however, isn't to try to prove that they aren't qualified, and I will be looking out for that. So please be really cognizant in what you're saying. For Senate business, we will be strictly professional in terms of demeanor and speech. It's the most efficient way to get through all of the things that we have. Older senators, you are expected to set an example. We have so many new senators and they're looking at you to get a sense of what they're doing. And again, to my online people, if your camera's on, please maintain as much professionalism as you can. And also please have your cameras on if you're able. It makes us feel like we're all here together. Also, for abstentions for our newer senators, that's not a show of neutrality. It's a vote to not vote. So if you're abstaining, it needs to be for a conflict of interest or there's not enough information for you to vote because you were elected into your chairs to vote. You're voting on behalf of your constituents, on behalf of your peers. So it is very important that you vote. And then the last thing from me and Pro Tempore Hamid had introductory meetings with the student body president and vice president, as well as a meeting with the comptroller so that we're prepared and to answer any initial questions that we have regarding the budget. On a lighter note, I'm getting ready to order polos, so that's exciting. And I hereby appoint Grace Rudy for ILA, Anna Reed for ELA, and Anthony Bonaventure for Sergeant at Arms. All of those will be confirmed next week. You guys don't have to clap for me. Are there any questions for me? Senator Rilla.
In the absence of a sergeant at arms, should we look to you to kind of maintain decorum and for what's right and what's wrong?
Yes. Any other questions for me? Seeing none. Senate President Pro Tempore report, President Hamid.
Hi, everyone. I hope you're all doing great. Welcome to Senate. Officially, we're here. So first committee meetings are officially done. Congrats on the new chairs. Next week in committee, you will be electing your vice chairs. I encourage everyone to apply. They're a great way to get involved. For all new chairs, once your committee times are finalized, I will be setting up a time to meet with you one-on-one. Orientations in my office hours will also be set up once all committee times have been finalized because I don't want to overlap on anything. Also, make sure that you complete your ethics and financial training. Send me a screenshot through email of your final scores when completed. You also have until next week for financial training because it's 10 days since you're appointed or sworn in, and 3 more weeks for ethics training. Also, the Pro Tem's office is in charge of approving and remanding legislation onto the Senate agenda. So if at any time you are submitting legislation to be remanded, please email it to me. And if they are confirmed, email it to the DLEG as well. Next, statutorily, whenever I reject a piece of legislation, I must explain why. So I've written a memorandum. It is in miscellaneous documents in the Senate channel. It is quite long, so I won't read the whole thing because I don't think I'm required to, right, Brody? Okay, so I'll kind of just gloss over it, but if you're really interested in hearing what I have to say, you can read the 3 pages of what I have to say. So Internal Bill 56 or 5701 is attempting to amend a previously vetoed piece of legislation from the 56th Senate session, this being Internal Bill 5641. This bill Internal Bill 5641 intended to allow students who did not use their legal name to be able to use a preferred name in student government elections without having to change their name through the university. So this bill, Internal Bill 5641, was vetoed by the Vice President of Student Success and Wellbeing, Dr. Frame. This was due to discrepancies in the bill language around provide different names provided by the university, which that is currently still a line in our statutes, and also with the use of acknowledgement instead of explicit decision. So my concerns stem from the new bill, Internal Bill 5701, that stems from the involvement of the student government advisor, the absence of confirmation from Dr. Frame about the internal bill actually fixing the issues that she saw present in the previous bill, issues with certain words being used and how they could affect the bill's interpretation, and the time it would take to see the legislation and the difficulties it would present if it were to be remanded today. I go into depth about all those points. I also provide recommendations for next step, that being develop an approval process for the student government advisor to ensure it follows university procedures and policy. Meeting with Dr. Frame with assistance from Senate leadership to facilitate a conversation or form of feedback to ensure the internal bill is correctly amending the concerns she had with the previous bill. I emailed Dr. Frame this Monday. I also asked President Blanco to help me out with getting her to set up a meeting. So I'm working on it. It's an active thing that's going to happen, I promise. And also to update the current language in the bill to change official name to something more defined. I think that a lot of these issues can be fixed with a meeting with Dr. Frame. That's why I denied it, because I knew it would take a while to get that meeting. She's very busy, and that's okay. But I do want to conclude this by saying I do appreciate Senator Lipner for working on making this bill. It's great to update a previously vetoed bill, and it's great to try and fix it. And I encourage them to continue their hard work during the session. However, it is the opinion of the Office of the Senate Pro Tempore that Internal Bill 5701 has concerns surrounding many of its aspects, and due to these factors, this internal bill has been denied from being placed on the Senate agenda for May 22nd, 2025. I would also like to add that my decision can be overturned by you guys. Whether or not you guys do that, it's okay with me. But those are my concerns that I'm bringing forth, and that is why I have rejected the bill. Also, on a lighter note, so I hereby appoint Brian Kaufman for D-Leg and James Kapnos for Deezer. And also, for a really light note, it's tradition that the pro temp does an outfit ranking at the end of every Senate meeting. So it's usually like an alliteration. Like last year, it was Danny's drip down. Before that, it was DeMarlo's drip down. So H and J are hard letters to do that with, so I'm having a hard time. Brody gave me really weird ideas, so I don't want to go with those. So I'm hoping you guys have great ideas. So right now it's like Hamid's insert adjective clothing ranking, and I don't really know if that's good. So if you have any ideas, let me know. And yeah, that's it for me.
All right. Save those ideas for either Teams chats or afterwards. Do you guys have any questions for the pro tempore? Senator Benesh.
I have two questions, one for you and one for Pro Temp Hamid.
Okay.
All right. First question for you. When do caucuses start? Are we starting in like a month?
So caucuses will start after the election commission is confirmed, as well as the supervisor of elections. And if I'm not incorrect, that's summer. It's at the beginning of summer B. Beginning of summer B. Right. And then your question to the pro tempore?
I was just wondering, when you do schedule that meeting with Dr. Frame, would other senators be able to participate? I did write that vetoed bill from last session, and I'm still very confused on why it was vetoed. I understand some of the concerns, but I just want to, speak my case as well, because I helped Lipner a little bit with this new bill, and I really thought it had no issues. So just wanted to know.
Yeah, of course. So I said earlier that I was talking to President Blanco to help me get it set up. So I will keep you and the other sponsors and the writer of 5701, that being Senator Lipner, involved in that process to make sure that you are able to attend. I also make sure that it is known to the Senate body that I will be having that meeting, when, where, and if you guys would like to join, I'll probably make a virtual option, because I want you guys to understand why that happened. This is a thing I also talked about with President Blanco, of increasing the dialogue around vetoes, so we understand better of why someone vetoed something instead of us just being confused about it. But I'm hoping that this conversation that we set up could help with any confusion that happens, and also help to make sure that the bill is ready and it does address her concerns. But I'll keep you guys updated, I promise.
Okay, any other questions for the pro tempore? Seeing none. Old business, none. Fiscal committee caucus time, none. Fiscal committee report, CRT committee, Chair Sherman.
Hi, Senate. CRT met for the first time on Tuesday, and I was elected chair. Our meetings over the summer will be hybrid on Tuesdays at 12 p.m. And in our next meeting, we will hold vice chair elections, as well as see a few mock bills and allocations so that we can prepare to see actual requests. And then I'll be working on opening the request form as soon as possible so we can do that.
Any questions for Chair Sherman? Chair Varela.
Will the request form open before the new fiscal year, or is it open like the day of the new fiscal year?
That's usually how it works, to my knowledge, so yes.
Any other questions for Chair Sherman? Seeing none, FAO committee, Chair Luce.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for electing me as chair. Next week, we will elect the vice chair for the committee. I'll send out a Teams message that describes what the vice chair will be required to do. We'll also go over some mock allocations and bills to get familiar with the process and then begin creating our budget. I'm hoping to open up the funding form soon. And then our committee will meet hybrid on Thursdays at 12 p.m. And if you're able to attend in person, which I recommend, we'll be in the conference room.
All right, are there any questions for Chair Lucht? Senator Lipner.
Sorry, this is a question for Chair Sherman, if you don't mind.
It was a question to Chair Sherman.
Yes.
Okay.
How was the time of 12 p.m. chosen?
That was just the time that worked the best, both based off of the people who filled out the when to meet and other committees that had already scheduled times.
Any questions for Chair Lucht? Seeing none, ORS Committee, Chair Rose.
Hi guys, thanks for re-electing me again. I sent out a when to meet. Make sure to fill
Point
it
of
out if you
reference.
haven't already. What?
The online people are very consistently quiet. Is there a way that we could turn the volume up on that?
Is it good now? Is it better?
Yes, you can go ahead.
Thank you.
Okay, I just said thanks for re-electing me. I sent out a when to meet, so make sure to fill it out if you haven't already, and we'll figure out the best time. And yeah, that's it.
Okay, any questions for Chair Rose? Seeing none, fiscal legislation, none, internal committee caucus time, ENA 25 minutes.
Confirmations.
Okay. Is there a motion to move to confirmations?
No, miscellaneous business.
Is there a motion to move to miscellaneous business?
So moved.
Okay, so I hereby resign Halima Al-Kuda and Sahasra Satvika from LJR, Jordan Metellus from SBA, and Julia Zivin from ENA, and I hereby appoint Daisy Trejo Hernandez to ENA and Samuel Jolicoeur to LJR. Now, is there a motion to move back to internal committee caucus time?
So moved.
Okay, okay. ENA 25 minutes. I hereby adjourn this meeting at 6:29. We will reconvene at 6:54.
Just like last week, if you're in the committee, stay in the main room. If you are not in the committee, join the breakout room.
Hello, everyone. If we're all here at the table and here on the Zoom, we should be good to get going and getting started. Is everyone able to hear me good?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. All right, so I hereby call this meeting to order at 6:31 p.m. Roll call and verification of quorum. Vice Chair Chow.
Present. Chair Escobar.
Present.
Senator Rodriguez.
Absent.
Senator Matthews.
Present.
Senator Rickett.
Present and voting.
Senator Rorocase.
Present.
Senator Banesh.
Present.
Senator Capinos.
Present.
Senator Candeloro. Present. Senator Trejo Hernandez. Senator Gaudio.
Present.
Senator Metellus.
Present.
Senator Lipner.
Present.
Senator Reed. Present. Pro Tempore Hamid.
Present.
Okay. 13 out of 14, I think. Let me check. Yes, 13 out of 14.
Thank you. And is there a motion to amend, approve and amend last meeting's minutes? There were just two technical things under the, I believe it was questioning of the appointee for comptroller.
So moved.
Thank you. Are there any objections? Seeing none. I've amended last meeting's minutes. And is there a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Thank you. Take a look at this caucus meeting's agenda. And is there a motion to approve this meeting's agenda?
So moved.
Are there any objections? Seeing none. Oh,
I just want to say I had a hard time opening the link for the agenda for today on Teams.
okay. Is that for anyone else?
What issues you're having?
Just the link on the Teams chat. I tried to open it, but it didn't open.
Right click.
Oh. You have to go to the agenda that's in the files. Works.
Are we all set now?
I'm set. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. All right, announcements from the chair. 1 second while my computer loads. It's a bit laggy. All right. Give me 1 second. All right, so good evening, ENA, and thank you all for being here. I wanted to just reiterate some of my expectations for this committee and its members. Firstly, simply participating, especially new senators. I know it may be a little nerve-wracking, but just have the ENA questioning diary open and you should be good. And I may call on a few, so just be sure to have the ENA diary open. Also, committee members should be respectful and substantial in their questions and debate. Committee members also should only abstain if you have a conflict of interest, or as President Court said, you just don't have enough information. And it is our senatorial duty to vote. So if you're neutral or have not made up your mind, just simply ask those questions to get that clarity. Also, just being germane, having questions that are relevant to the position. It is good to have good, thorough questions. However, we're not to be harsh in our questioning. We are simply a committee that reviews qualifications and make sure that these appointees are the best fit. Also, just having decorum, not issuing unwarranted statements and questioning, no side conversations, and just paying attention, being present. My vision for the ENA committee is just to be a respectable committee that reviews these qualifications and acts as a second opinion to the decisions of the student body president, who has dedicated much time to these decisions alongside our vice president. These appointments also have put an effort into their proposals and the preparation for this committee. So just be respectful in that and give them our respect, and leaving any potential biases that we may have at the door. And I just appreciate if we are mindful of this moving forward. And also, with that being said, the committee will no longer go into executive session, as my envisioned outcome for this initiative is just not what I had hoped. But yeah, today we are seeing the confirmation of the governmental affairs coordinator. So if there's anything else, if there are any questions for me, let me know. Seeing no questions, announcements from the vice chair.
Good evening, everyone. So reminder to listen carefully and weigh all factors of the GAC candidate. As stated before, it is difficult to remove someone out of their position, so please keep this in mind while we are voting. And like Chair Escobar has said before, make sure to either vote for or against the candidate and do not abstain unless you have a conflict of interest. Make sure to keep this in mind. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions for the vice chair? Seeing none. My apologies. My computer is still lagging. All right, announcements from committee members. Senator Rickett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to give my heartfelt prayers and our well wishes to the individuals that were harmed or hurt or passed away during the tragic happenings in Washington D.C. at the Jewish Museum. I just want to give my heartfelt prayers and well wishes to all those people.
You, Senator Benesh.
Hi, everybody. I just want to say, make sure that you're speaking clearly, concisely, because, Vice Chair Chow, it may be a little bit difficult to get down what you're saying if you're mumbling, if you're, not being too present. So just make sure you're speaking very clearly, very concisely as to not, cause too much trouble for the Vice Chair and to keep things running smoothly. Thank you.
Thank you. Announcements from non-committee members. None. New business. Is there a motion to see confirmations?
So moved.
We will now be seeing the confirmations of the Government Affairs Coordinator, Ali DeMarco. Is there a motion for speech questioning debate? Senator Lipner.
Motion for a 10-10-10.
All right, there's been a motion for a 10-minute speech, 10 minutes questioning, 10 minutes debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, Ali DeMarco, 10 minutes whenever you're ready.
Hello, can everyone hear me all right? Good? Okay, awesome. Good evening, Senators. My name is Ali DeMarco, and I want to begin by sincerely thanking each of you for taking the time to consider me for the position of Governmental Affairs Coordinator. I'm an incoming junior here at UCF, majoring in criminal justice with a minor in legal studies on the pre-law track. I've long believed that public service and civic engagement are not just responsibilities, but that they are privileges. That belief has shaped every step of my academic, professional, and leadership journey so far. Growing up with a strong interest in American history and politics, I quickly realized that making a difference begins with showing up and being ready to serve. Since arriving at UCF in 2023, I've worked intentionally to gain hands-on experience that connects me directly to the work of advocacy, policy, and community leadership at my school. In my current position at a law firm that specializes in workers' compensation and personal injury law, I've learned firsthand how government, law, and policy directly affect people's lives. Supporting clients who are often going through some of the hardest moments of their lives has given me a deep respect for the systems that protect and serve them. It has also taught me the importance of communication, clarity, and consistency, skills I would love to bring into this role. Previously, I had the unique opportunity to work in the Office of the President here at UCF, where I supported interactions between students, faculty, and senior leadership. In that position, I saw what it takes to bridge different parts of an institution through professionalism, diplomacy, and mutual respect. Whether it was preparing for high-level meetings or assisting students navigating university processes, I learned how important it is to represent people with integrity. I've also had the opportunity to serve as vice chair of UCF Student Government's Scholarship Committee, helping organize and allocate funding for scholarship programs that reach across our diverse student body. This work reinforced the importance of equity, access, and targeted support principles that lie at the heart of public service. This experience underscored the real impact that thoughtful policy and fair distribution of resources can have on our student body. Last summer, I gained experience working with Hillsborough County's local government, 813. I helped mobilize low-propensity voters, created civic education materials, and engaged with constituents. That work reaffirmed for me how crucial local government is in connecting communities with the opportunity and instructions to vote. Additionally, through my participation in SGLC and ELC, I had the privilege of attending Day at the Capitol, where I worked with other students to lobby on behalf of our student body. During this event, I enjoyed advocating for bills directly impacting Florida University students, meeting with state legislators, and voicing our concerns about higher education funding, Florida Bright Futures, and other student-centered priorities. This experience gave me invaluable insight into all the legislative processes and deepened my commitment to making sure students' voices are heard at all levels. I also want to take a moment to share the impact that working closely with the previous governmental affairs coordinator, Brooke Martin, has had on my growth in this area. Through observing Brooke's leadership and the way she built and maintained relationships with key stakeholders and university faculty, including Janet Owen, Allison Scholes, and Austin Wilson, I gained invaluable insights into how to effectively navigate this role. Her mentorship gave me a clear understanding of the complexities of this role, and it inspired me to take initiative in bringing fresh perspectives and new energy to the position. I'm excited, pending my confirmation, to take on this role with a commitment to ensuring smooth transition, continued success, building on the strong foundation that she established. As I step into this position, I'm eager to bring my own vision, leadership, and skills to advance the goals of the student body and elevate our voice at every level of government. Through all of these experiences and relationships, I've come to believe that public service should always rise above partisanship. As governmental affairs coordinator, my mission would not to be promote a particular political agenda, but to represent every student regardless of their background, identity, or political beliefs. Effective advocacy starts with listening, learning, and leading with respect for all voices. I'm committed to fostering bipartisan dialogue, building meaningful partnerships, and ensuring that student perspectives are conveyed clearly and fairly to government entities at every level. Each of these roles, from local outreach to federal engagement, has strengthened my passion for public service and better prepared me to serve the student body in an impactful way. If confirmed as your governmental affairs coordinator, I will work to make sure student voices are heard where decisions are made. I'll foster strong relationships with government partners, advocate for issues that matter to UCF students, and promote civic engagement and education across campus. Thank you for your time, your service, and your consideration. I look forward to the opportunity to represent and uplift our student body on and off campus. Go Knights, charge on. Thank you. I now yield my time.
Thank you. We are now in a period of questioning. Are there any questions? Senator Lipner.
Sorry, can you explain your relationship with Brooke and who the former GAC was?
Well, I know that the former GAP was Gabriella Polera, but the one before her was Brooke Martin. And she was the GAC when I was going through SGLC and ELC. So I kind of bonded with her over our, similar interests in government and politics and everything that she was doing at the time.
Thank you.
Senator Gaudio.
So part of your duties, presumably your Day at the Capitol coordinator, part of your duties is to create a tentative timeline for the completion of the priorities and advocacy agenda for the event. From the time you get delegated the duty of Day at the Capitol coordinator, how long do you have to create that timeline?
That would be 30 days, Senator.
Senator Benesh.
Hello, DeMarco. Thank you so much for showing up. I just had a question about one of your proposals. So I see right here that you want to host a college Republicans versus college Democrat debate. I'm a little bit unfamiliar with these groups and why you would want to host this debate. So if you could provide a little bit of insight on that, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
Yes, so this debate hasn't been able to happen the past couple of years. However, I know that we do have very prominent College Democrats and College Republicans on campus. I think that it would be such a fun opportunity for them to, engage in a mediated debate regarding current events and policies that are being put into our, federal, local, state government. And I think that it would be a lot of fun for the kids that are involved within those groups to debate and, have a friendly conversation.
Senator Reed.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. I have a quick question about your Day at the Capitol initiative involving how you intend to work with the GAP committee in preparation for Day at the Capitol. So how do you intend on doing so?
Thank you, Senator Reed. So pending my confirmation, I plan to meet with Chair Valera and Vice Chair Kushi, I believe that's how you pronounce it. As soon as I get confirmed, pending, I would love to meet with them, and listen to their opinions on what they think the Day at the Capitol and how it could go the smoothest. And also, they're the main aid that I get in, working with the student body and creating that student body advocacy agenda. So I think that working with the GAP committee, in conjunction with myself and the president and vice president, they are a huge resource for me to use in this position. So.
Senator Benesh, you had a follow-up?
Yes, just going back to that debate inquiry, I was just wondering, with the recent dissolution and reinstatement of college Republicans, how do you intend to make sure that these debates are germane and maybe include other groups such as YDSA and, other political groups on campus? Thank you.
Yeah, so I think meeting with each of the presidents of the two clubs would be important to make sure that, they understand that this is going to be a mediated and refined event. This is not going to be something where we turn into, lash out arguments. But I think that they should take this experience and take this opportunity as a positive feature for their club to promote, their values or what they're interested in either way. But I think, again, meeting with other clubs and other, leaders on campus that might be interested in joining in that debate is obviously something I'd love to explore in this position.
Apologies for interrupting, but senators in the room, please refrain from doing side conversations.
Thank you, Pro Tempore Meade. Senator Rickett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for being here, Mr. Marco. Can you tell me how many seats are in the Florida House and Florida Senate, please?
Got me on the spot here. I apologize. I am unable to answer that question at this time, but pending confirmation, I would love to do more research on the Senate and the representatives in the legislature.
Mr. Chairman, follow up, please.
Senator Rickett, you may just make sure it's germane to the position and just the role of the governmental affairs coordinator.
Yes, of course, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Marco, as the GAC, can you tell me what the process is for setting up the Day at the Capitol event and kind of all the logistics and inner workings that go into, selecting individuals to actually go up to Tallahassee?
Yes, of course. So again, pending my confirmation, I don't have access to the budget currently. But with access to the budget, I would love to bring as many members of UCF student body to Day at the Capitol with us. I would obviously go through a vetting process, probably hosting Zoom meetings or in-person interviews to make sure that, the students we send up there are well equipped to speak to legislators and representing UCF in the best way possible. But again, that vetting process, I would hopefully bring up some of our SGLCers. I think that it was a great experience for me in SGLC, and I would hope that every member participating in SGLC would get that opportunity. But it would be a vetting process, but I would love to bring as many people as possible to better represent our diverse student body.
One more follow-up, Mr. Chairman. It's germane to the GAP committee.
I will see other senators' questions and then we'll come back to you.
Yes, thank you.
Senator Libner.
Sorry, I'm using a phone to do this because my laptop has been dying. But can you please describe what you'll be doing in the first few weeks as you enter this position if you are confirmed?
Yes, so immediately I would get in touch with the GAP committee leadership, the chair and the vice chair, to set up a time to discuss, what their hopes and dreams are for this day at the Capitol and this committee going into this upcoming year. I would also get in contact with our administrators, Janet Owen, Austin Wilson, all of those awesome people that we have on our side. I'd also try and get in contact with our representatives at Gray Robinson that will be, helping us schedule all of our meetings while we go up to Tallahassee. So all of that would come pretty fast, but those would be, my first couple weeks is building those relationships.
Thank you. One more, if I may.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm from the chair. Okay, cool. Regarding Day at the Capitol, can you elaborate a little bit more on your interview process and how you'll be choosing who does or does not go?
Yes, I would have a laid out set of a questionnaire of sorts that I would ask every candidate. And I think it also just, you have to take a look into, why people want to go and lobby. What are they into? What is, do they have a certain niche in legislature that they're looking to advocate for? Are they a part of another, organization on campus? Is there some reason why they are looking to go lobby at Day at the Capitol? I think also just understanding, their level of professionalism and ensuring that they are able to, stay on a professional level with legislators when discussing some hot topics that, may be up for discussion. But I think that would be, the vetting process.
Senator Reed.
All right, thank you. So I'm looking at your initiative about Downtown Day, and just a quick question: how do you intend on funding or budgeting for the buses to transport people to the downtown area?
So again, I don't have the set budget currently. I've worked with vendors in the past through other leadership organizations on campus. And I know that we do have a good relationship with the company that we've used in previous years. Downtown Day, I have it set currently in my initiatives that I would take the leadership from each branch to Downtown Day. That's up for discussion. We can see how much money we have going into that. But I would like to take as many people as possible for that experience, but it all depends on.
Senator Gaudio.
Before I ask my question, a question to you. How much time remains in questioning?
We have 1:20.
Thank you. Do you have an idea for how you plan on handling ordering of food during Day in the Capitol, particularly, say, accommodating for dietary restrictions?
I have not currently looked at any catering companies. Again, I don't have any idea of what my budget will look like for this upcoming year. However, I know in the past we have used the little cafe that they have at the Capitol to sponsor lunch. So that would be something that I'd have to look into and get into the details. But I would assume that, anyone with dietary restrictions coming on Day at the Capitol, that would be a question I would ask, through the vetting process and who gets approved. And that would be, a discussion with the person. But rest assured there would be, a substitute for whoever needs it.
We do have 30 seconds remaining. Senator Banesh.
Motion to extend questioning by 3 minutes.
There's been a motion to extend questioning by 3 minutes. Are there any objections? Seeing none, questioning has extended by 3 minutes. Senator Banesh.
You can actually move on to somebody else. I did not have a question.
All right, Senator Rickett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Marco, last year there were some issues with the previous GAG and the GAP committee not seeing eye to eye on certain things. What are some of the things that you can do to kind of mitigate and kind of change the dynamic and work together better with the GAP committee if you are confirmed?
Yeah, so again, pending the confirmation, like I said, my first couple of weeks would look like building that relationship with the chair and vice chair. And again, it really is me working. Sorry. It really is me working in tandem with the committee. The committee is the closest thing I have to talking to the rest of the student body, and I think that that is so important. Obviously, I will be collaborating with them on creating the student advocacy agenda, but also it would be amazing to just have them on my side and aid me in anything while we're up in Tallahassee. But again, I really value their opinions. I look, pending confirmation, I do look forward to working with them and building those relationships.
Mr. Chairman, just one more follow-up, if I may.
You may just remember to if you do have a follow-up, just let me know beforehand.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Marco, can you tell us any of the initiatives or any of the policies or any of the legislations that will be seen in the next upcoming Senate floor legislative session?
Not in the upcoming legislative session. However, I am aware of, Senate Bill 584, that will be aiding university students, in Florida with homelessness. And, if they've been in the foster care system, they become priority for student housing on campus, and that will go into effect July 1st.
We have 1 minute remaining. Senator Gaudio.
Oh, I meant to put my hand down. Apologies.
Senator Reed.
Thank you. Could you expand a little bit further on your Rally and the Tally and Big 12 on the Hill ideas? And would that be something that encompassed the entire student body or only select students?
Yes. So Rally and Tally, I think previously it has been leadership from each branch has gone to Rally and Tally. And I think that it's a great experience to meet with other, Florida University student government leaders. It's a great way to further lobbying after, we have our day at the or it would be before we have our day at the Capitol. Yeah, and my biggest thing for that is, learning what other universities are doing, what other things that they have implemented that maybe we have not, that could benefit students at UCF. And I think that it is a great experience to make connections, and further lobby for our student body. And then for Big 12 on the Hill, this is a unique experience that this will be our second year doing it. Super exciting being in the new conference. But again, that is just broadening our range of advocacy, right? So now we get to go to DC and we get to participate with other universities across the country, and learn from them and further advocate for our students, in at the legislature up in Washington.
Thank you. Questioning time has elapsed, but I'll take a motion. Senator Banesh.
Move to debate.
There's been a motion to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now in 10 minutes of debate. Senator Banesh.
Okay, first of all, I just want to say, guys, when you're doing your questioning, please make sure that they're germane and useful questions. I understand we're all curious about what the candidate might have in store, but you guys have to remember she is not appointed yet, so she won't have access to things such as budget. So, just be very considerate about that, because I'm scared for this girl. She's looking like, dang, they're gonna ask me about the budget. Like, I don't really know. So just make sure that you're being germane and considerate about your questions. With that being said, I will be voting in favor of this candidate. First of all, so qualified. We have a legal intern here that's been through the SGLC and the ELC process. She was even in the president's office last year, so that's incredibly cool. Not to mention, in her materials, I was looking through all of them. She was extremely meticulous with what she had planned. Her itinerary, her mock itinerary for Day at the Capitol was phenomenal. I loved what she had to say, and I love the policies that she wants to put in place in her initiatives. I really hope that you do get confirmed, because I feel like you are an exceptional candidate. And if anybody thinks otherwise, they can go through me. I'm just playing, but I encourage everybody to vote in favor. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator Reed.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I will also be voting in favor of this candidate. Not only do I think her qualifications speak for herself, but I also do want to point out in SGLC, she did get to do a little voting activity event that happened. So I think from the beginning, she's always been super into government, which I think is awesome. The only thing I will say in terms of the initiatives is I would love to see things involve more students and kind of broadening the entire student body, which I think would be beneficial, especially for downtown day and things like that. But overall, I think I can see the passion in this candidate, and I will look forward to see what she does.
Senator Metellus.
May I retain? All right. Yes, so I completely second everything that was stated before me. First with the, yes, being germane and relevant. Multiple questions were asked about the budget or money related things and she kept giving the same answer that she doesn't know the budget. So let's keep that in mind when asking questions. But yes, this candidate is highly qualified. I really do love her drive and initiatives and the way that she answered questions, in my opinion, felt that she really felt passion for this role and knew what she was talking about. And I really do love her prior experience, especially working with the president and understanding how government affairs work. So I'll be voting in favor of this candidate and encourage you guys to all do the same. With that being said, move to vote.
There's been a motion to vote. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now voting procedures. I'll take a roll call vote, and then if Vice Chair Chow could just
Move for a roll call vote, Mr. Chairman.
yes, I'm taking a roll call vote, and if Vice Chair Chow could just mark the vote. Chair Escobar, I'll be voting in favor. Vice Chair Chow,
I'll also be voting in favor.
Senator Matthews,
Voting in favor.
Senator Rickett,
Voting in favor.
Senator Rocasa,
I'll be voting in favor.
Senator Banesh,
Y'all know I'm voting in favor.
Senator Kapanos,
I'll be voting in favor.
Senator Candeloro,
Voting in favor.
Senator Trejo Hernandez,
In favor.
Senator Gaudio,
In favor.
Senator Metellus,
In favor.
Senator Reed,
In favor.
and Pro Tem Hamid.
In favor.
I was not called.
That is my mistake. Senator Lipner.
So
In
sorry.
favor.
All right. With a vote count of
14-0-0.
the appointee has been confirmed by ENA. Thank you for coming, and we'll now move on to member discussion. Is there anyone wishing to speak in member discussion? Senator Banesh.
Really quickly, guys, once again, make sure that when she does go through the Senate, that you're asking relevant questions if you still have any left, and make sure that they are germane and considerate. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in member discussion? If not, I'll take a motion. Pro Tem Hamid.
Motion to adjourn pending final roll call.
There's been a motion to adjourn pending final roll call. I believe it is same as initial. Thank you. I hereby adjourn this meeting at 7:04 p.m.
Okay, I re-adjourn this meeting at 7:06 p.m. Internal committee reports, ENA committee, Chair Escobar.
In ENA, in the ENA committee meeting this week, Senator Chow was elected as vice chair. Congratulations to her. The committee also saw 5 confirmations. Soraya Pearson, Chief of Staff, confirmed 10-1-0. Panayota Laliotis, Deputy Chief of Staff, confirmed 11-0-0. James Drinkwater, Comptroller, confirmed 6-3-4. Andi Ayup, Director of Communications, confirmed 5-3-4. Ali DeMarco, Governmental Affairs Coordinator, who we saw in caucus time, will confirmed 14-0-0. And Jorge Altuna for Attorney General was rejected by ENA with a vote count of 5-1. And according to statutes 306.1H, the Senate can change the committee's actions by a 2/3 majority vote in the meeting.
All right, any questions for the ENA chair? Seeing none, GAP committee, Chair Varela.
Hello, Senate. I'm so excited to say that I have been elected the new GAP chair to serve in the 57th session. Massive thank you to my fellow committee members for giving me this opportunity. As part of my proposal, I wanted to have GAP release a weekly newsletter that details happenings of local, state, and federal politics that is relevant to the university and the work we do in SG. The first iteration of this newsletter should be released next week during GAP announcements. And if you have any pieces of news that you feel are especially important to include in this newsletter, please reach out to me.
Any questions for Chair Varela? Seeing none, LJR committee, Chair Gaudio.
Good evening, Senate. So last meeting, I was elected as the chair. We set our new committee meeting time to Wednesdays at 5 p.m. They will be hybrid in the office conference room. Next meeting, we will be electing our vice chair, our representatives, as well as creating our precedent document for absence excusals. I just wanted to touch on this because I've had a few people ask me about it. So just a few reminders. You may have up to 2 unexcused absences from Senate meetings per semester. You receive a full absence if you miss the entire meeting, and a half absence if you miss initial roll call, final roll call, or you do not vote on 75% of the votes on the record. So make sure you're actually voting. If you want to have an absence excuse, there's a form on Night Connect called Senator Absence Request Form. You can fill that out. LJR will see your absence. If you don't see it, let Brody know. You can also just send me an email with it. If you have a recurring obligation that will consistently prevent you from attending either initial or final roll call, you can request a blanket excuse, which will excuse you for the entire semester. If you can't attend Senate meetings at all for the rest of the semester, you should pursue a sign-over, which you can find in Chapter 307 of Title III. And if you're going to be absent from your committee meeting, just reach out to your chair. They will excuse you.
All right, any questions for the LJR chair? Brody?
I just really quickly want to clarify, if you don't participate in 75% of the votes and you are present for initial and final roll call, you'll get that half absence. But if you miss final roll call and therefore missed votes, you don't get penalized twice.
Any questions for the LJR chair? Seeing none, SBA committee, Chair Todorescu.
Hello, Senate. SBA met this past Monday and the committee elected me as chair. Thank you very much to the committee. Our committee meeting time will be on Mondays at 5 p.m. and next meeting we will be electing our vice chair.
Any questions for Chair Todorescu? Seeing none, confirmations. Again, before we begin, you guys all saw the questions that were asked to the GAC. Those are not to be asked during this time. And you were also supposed to look at the ENA minutes from yesterday and not ask those questions as well. And again, debate limited to 1 minute per person. We are on a time crunch. So confirmations, first we have Soraya Pearson for Chief of Staff.
Hi, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, hold on just a second. Is there a motion for speeches, questioning, and debate? Troy Hernandez.
A motion for a 10-15-15?
There's been a motion for a 10-15-15. Any objections? Seeing none. Okay, Soraya, you can go whenever you're ready.
Alrighty. Hello, everyone, and good evening, senators. First, I want to thank you all for being here today and giving me your time. My name is Soraya Pearson, and I'm a senior communications major here at the University of Central Florida. During my time at UCF, I can confidently say that I'm a girl who has worn many different hats, and in one instance, a crown. I come from a small town in South Florida called Lantana, and because I come from a large family where, for reference, my dad has upwards of 30 first cousins, and my mother, well, she's Puerto Rican and we call everyone family. So I could just run into just about anyone at our local Publix and see a familiar face. So coming to a brand new place and starting from scratch was overwhelming and scary. But I knew I had to find my own UCF family. It was thanks to a good random roommate match that I found my way onto Night Connect and joined SGLC. I knew very quickly I had found my community within UCF. Starting in the SGLC and ELC programs under the guidance of inspiring mentors, I grew my leadership and found some lifelong friends along the way as well. The SGLC program was the catalyst for my involvement on campus, from being a housing ambassador, a culture and community director for the Multicultural Student Center, the Black Female Development Circle Incorporated's Miss Woman of Excellence, a Relay for Life communications chair, and last but not least, a member of the President's Leadership Council. Yes, it's a mouthful, but it's mine. One thing that I can say about all of my roles on campus is that someone saw something in me that I did not see in myself, and that was to lead with grace. Each of these roles have given me the opportunity to truly connect with our students, to listen to their stories, to learn from their experiences, and to witness just how powerful leadership and advocacy can be. I believe now, more than ever, that it's essential we meet students where they are. And while I do not claim to have all the answers, I do my best to stay engaged, stay present, and help foster a sense of community wherever I can. And that's what brings me here today. If given the opportunity to serve as Chief of Staff, I hope to continue being a strong advocate for all students, ensuring that student government remains a supportive, inclusive, and empowering space for everyone in our university community. That includes continuing to uplift our agencies and recognizing the meaningful work they do to enrich the UCF experience. I also look forward to being a steady support system to President Blanco and helping manage day-to-day operations and ensuring our team leads with intention, collaboration, and care. Building that sense of unity starts with us, as a student government, through open communication, mutual respect, and a genuine embrace of new perspectives. As we welcome our upcoming SGLC class, I'm ecstatic to mentor the next generation of leaders alongside my fellow coordinators, encouraging them to grow with confidence and lead with compassion. So, go Knights, charge on, and I thank you. I now yield the rest of my time.
Okay, we are now in a period of questioning. Are there any questions for the confirmee? Senator Reed?
I don't know why I raised my hand on Zoom. But thank you so much for being here. I really love your detailed SGLC and ELC plans, but I have a quick question about those too. So how do you intend on working with your other SGLC coordinators?
Yeah, I think when it comes to collaborating with my other SGLC coordinators, I think the first step is, getting to know them, and understanding how we all work and trying to figure out what our plan is, a plan of attack is, I guess you could say. And I think the major thing is setting a baseline for what we're looking for in a candidate when it comes to SGLC.
Right. Senator Lipner and then Senator Chow.
Two, if I may.
You may.
First off, what is your personal opinion on AI and how do you plan on using it within your role?
Yeah, thank you for that question. When it comes to AI usage, I'm a user. I do, however, think that my usage of AI is more as an editor. I think everything still needs that human touch. But overseeing, maybe I missed a comma or a capitalization, or maybe getting a baseline or like an outline on maybe where to start. That's kind of my AI usage and how I believe AI is used to the best capability, I guess that would be the answer.
Yeah, thank you so much. And then the second, if I may, Chair.
You may.
Thank you. Seeing as you are expected to oversee the Division of Communications, how do you expect to do so, and what are your plans to ensure that communication and responsibilities are still upheld?
Yes, so I come from a communications background. As I mentioned earlier, I am a communications major here. I'm currently working as a communications intern. So I do have experience in communication and understand the need for it and understand kind of how it works. As for working with the Division of Communications, the Division of Communications is works for like all eight, like all branches, all parts of student government. So we're a big student government and understanding the need of our division of communication. So for me, working as an extension of the division of communication, stepping in, advocating for them, making sure that everyone understands how to get their request in, how to make sure that their message is spread the right way, and also coming up with some guidelines and understanding on how we would like to do things.
Okay, Senator Chow.
So how do you plan on navigating or handling disagreements with other SGLC coordinators or departments in the cabinet?
Yeah, when it comes to disagreements, they're bound to happen. I think that it's important to establish an open line of communication for disagreements, and sitting down and talking about them and really breaking down on seeing if there's a compromise that can that can happen, or just understanding why something may need to happen. Maybe I'm wrong and that I'm not claiming to ever be perfect, and understanding, hey, someone may have a better idea and maybe it's time to pivot and go that way as well.
Okay, are there, Senator Chow?
Can I follow up?
You may.
Okay, perfect. So when it comes to handling disagreements possibly with coworkers that you may have friendly relations with, how would you be able to separate your professional matters from those friendly relations? And what would you prioritize more?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I have in the past, within the culture or with the MSC or the Multicultural Student Center, you kind of grow to become friendly with people you work with. But I think setting the baseline of understanding when we're in office or when there's that talks of in a professional setting, understanding that we are coworkers first in this sense, and maybe not everything. Maybe the disagreement is not personal, and kind of really setting that boundary of, hey, this is a professional talk, and just really setting the boundary of this is business versus professional.
Okay, Senator Lipner.
Two, if I may. Sorry.
You may.
Awesome. The first one, how many hours do you plan on dedicating to student government every single week?
Yeah, so the range for a chief of staff is usually 15 to 18 to my understanding. So I will have designated office hours to meet those requirements and make sure that I'm available.
Alrighty, and then the second one, do you have any caucuses that you plan on joining if you have the time and availability to do so?
Yeah, I think the Disability Caucus, along with is something that I'm really interested on sitting in. I understand that like I may not be able to attend all the meetings due to like a calendar conflict and being busy, but I do think it's important that I myself attend caucus meetings and then encouraging my cabinet members as well to do so.
All right, are there any other questions for the comp for me? Chair Hernandez.
Move to debate.
There's been a motion to move to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are non-debate. Anybody wishing to speak in debate? Senator Reed.
Thank you so much. So I will be voting yes for this candidate. I could speak on and on about this candidate's character, but I want to talk more about her proposal this time. I was blown away by the detailed descriptions of the SGLC program that she had laid out. The week by week, lesson by lesson descriptions of this program, I believe, are incredible, and it just goes to show how passionate this candidate is for this role. For these reasons, I will be voting yes, and I encourage you all to do the same.
Senator Benesh.
Hi, everybody, and thank you, Ms. Pearson, for joining. I just want to say, first of all, shout out to the 561. You're really putting us on. I just want to say I will be voting in favor of this candidate. First of all, she seems very dedicated to this role, and I especially liked her answers about the communications division. As most of us who were in Senate last session may know, the communications division, they did a great job. I'm not going to lie, but there was definitely things that they could improve on. And she really nailed those main concerns for me. So I will be voting extremely positively in favor of this candidate. And I encourage all of you to do.
All right, anybody else wishing to speak in debate? I'll go Rudy and then Weiderberg.
I wanted to echo the statements of Senator Reed when looking at the SGLC agenda and just the to-dos for the summer and looking into the fall semester. I think it's very well thought out, and I really appreciate the time that she has clearly taken to think about how this program will be run, and I will be voting in favor.
Okay, Senator Weiderberg.
Okay, so guys, I love Soraya. I had the pleasure of being an SGLC with her, and now she's one of my close friends. She's just one of the most passionate and driven people I know. She's so involved on campus, and she genuinely puts her all into everything she does. I really, really think that she's perfect for this position and that she's gonna thrive in it. And I'm gonna be voting in favor, and I encourage everyone to do the same.
Okay, with so many an affirmation, are there any indication? Chair Gaudio?
Move to vote.
There's been a motion to move to vote. Any objections? Seeing none, we are now in voting procedures. Okay, with a vote count of 42 to 0 to 0, Soraya Pearson has been confirmed as Chief of Staff.
Thank you. Look forward to working with everyone.
Okay, next we have Panayota Laliotis for Deputy Chief of Staff.
Hello, testing. Awesome. Okay. Well, good evening, Senators. It's so great to see you all here today. My name is Panayota Laliotis, and a little bit about me. I'm a junior studying political science on the politics and policy track, and I have aspirations to one day make big changes in the U.S. education system. I'm originally from Tampa, Florida, and I came to UCF in search of something greater than myself, and I can confidently say that I have found that here in student government. Just like all of you, I like to stay involved. Throughout my time in college, I've done so both in and out of the university. With incredible opportunities like being a district intern for the U.S. House of Representatives, serving as a camp counselor to children in the foster care system, and serving as a member of the Career Center's Student Advisory Board. But by far the most rewarding and joyful experiences I've had at UCF have been in student government. I began my journey in my freshman year with the SGLC and ELC programs. This experience was life-changing and truly inspiring. I met such passionate and driven individuals and knew from the moment I joined that I wanted to make an impact just like those around me. I worked on things like the first ever Student Government Emergency Textbook Fund. I fought for open educational resources for students, hosted events to help students discover new study spaces, and created opportunities to de-stress during final season, and so much more. In addition to this, I also took on the role of Scholarship Committee Chair, where we allocated over $200,000 worth of scholarships to our student body. All of these invaluable experiences have led me to today, where I stand before you hoping to make big impacts at this university once again, this time as Deputy Chief of Staff. If appointed Deputy Chief of Staff, my first priority will be to support all efforts of the Vice President. I will serve as Vice President Benitez's right hand, with my main goal being the success of our administration's goals coming to fruition to benefit the student body. I also plan to take on the internal aspect of the job by becoming a pillar of support, not just for our cabinet, but for all branches. I promise to uphold the standards I believe are crucial to success in this role, including but not limited to collaboration, communication, and cooperation, while also ensuring every student government agent feels a part of the community that we call SG. One example of how I will take action in creating this community is through a student government networking reception. If appointed, I will host this event to allow SG agents to familiarize themselves with one another and discuss goals and ideas for the year. We are strongest when we work together. I also want to extend the support to our auxiliary campuses, ensuring every member of the UCF community shares the same opportunity and experience regardless of location. To begin this, I plan to host a town hall-styled meet and greet, setting the groundwork for a year filled with success. I will shine a spotlight on our auxiliary campuses, lifting them up and serving as a catalyst for their accomplishments in student leadership and connectivity. Student government is filled with some of the most driven and selfless leaders I have ever met. I'm humbled by the opportunity to be a part of such a trailblazing and inspiring group. Thank you all for taking the time to listen to my story, goals, and dreams for this year, if granted the role of Deputy Chief of Staff. Thank you, and I now yield the rest of my time for questions.
Okay, we are now in a period of questioning. Are there any questions? I'll go Varela and then Reed.
Yeah. About the auxiliary campuses, do you have any plans for campuses like Lake Nona or Connect campuses? Because I know those campuses tend to be left out of the auxiliary campus talks.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for that question. So I do understand that sometimes Lake Nona can feel a bit left out when it comes to the planning. I think it's important to establish a good connection with leadership on their campus. I know they are going through some construction with the new nursing facility there, so it's important to understand where they're coming from and also what they're looking for. As med students, I also assume that their schedules are slightly busier than other students, so it's important to understand where we can fit in support and also where we can fit in with in regards to any events from our branch.
Senator Reed.
Thank you so much. So I see on your proposal that you have plans to encourage cabinet members to participate in caucuses. Do you intend on sitting on any yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for that question. So the two that I think would be most important for myself, the areas that I'm most passionate in would be the Women's Caucus and then also the Disability Caucus. I do have a brother who has a disability, and so it's really near and dear to my heart. And I think that sitting on those caucuses and just providing insight and support as a potential cabinet member would be very crucial and important.
Okay, I will go Senator Banesh and then Senator Lipner.
Hello, glad to see you again. My question for you is, so I noticed that in your speech, you talked a lot about cross-branch collaboration with your networking event and whatnot. I was just wondering, were you planning on, working with the Deputy of Senate Relations and other related people in their respective branches on these events, and how would you plan on fostering that connection, if that makes sense? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for your question. That's actually something that I'm super passionate about if appointed. My goal with this event is actually to include all student government agents. So of course that means collaborating with the leadership in each, excuse me, I'm like blanking on the word, in each branch, excuse me, that's the word. So yeah, I would love to meet with the leadership in each of the branches to establish a time that works. I'm assuming that fall might be best for everyone because that means we're all back in person. And to touch on this a little bit more, I think it's important not just to meet each other, but also to discuss ideas and collaborate on opportunity for the year. I think that a good example of this could be something like our sustainability coordinator meeting with the Sustainability Caucus, just fostering connection, relations, and also communicating ideas.
Senator Lipner.
Hi again. Thank you for seeing us and thank you for being here. My question to you is regarding your connection and relationship with your coordinators who you are overseeing. How do you expect that relationship to build? What do you expect to do in your meetings with them, and how do you expect to oversee their progress?
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. So I did get the privilege of being a coordinator last year, so I understand firsthand what it's like to go through the process of being a new cabinet member and understanding, how to transition them properly into the branch. And I also have outlined in my proposal cabinet one-on-ones. And so what I will do with everyone in the branch is meet monthly to discuss where things are going well, but also discuss areas that they may need support in. I really want to emphasize that our branch will be there to support them in all of their endeavors, and if they feel that they need our support, that we're there for them.
All right, Senator Banesh, did you have another question?
My apologies, move to debate.
Okay, there's been a motion to move to debate. Any objections? Seeing none, we are now in a period of debate. Anybody wishing to speak? Senator Reed and then Senator Lipner.
Okay, so I actually don't have anything written down at the moment, but I spoke in ENA ad nauseum about this candidate and how wonderful she did in the last session in cabinet, and I thought all her ideas really exceeded and were more than successful, especially with midnight breakfast and all the events that she held. I thought they had great turnout, and I think that says a lot about who she is as a leader, but also just looking at her proposal as a whole, I can tell she put a lot of thought and ideas into this, and I think it really goes to show the type of person and type of character that she is, and I really hope to see her success in the next year, and I'll be voting yes, and I encourage you all to do so.
Senator Lipner.
Mayor Tain?
You may.
Alrighty, I just want to echo everything that Senator Reed just said. I think this candidate is exceptionally fit for this role, and I'm very excited to see her exceed in it. Move to vote.
There's been a motion to move to vote. Any objections? Seeing none, we are now in a period of voting. Okay, with a vote count of 47 to 0 to 0, Panayota Laliotis has been confirmed as the Deputy Chief of Staff. Next, we have James Drinkwater for Comptroller.
Good evening. My name is James Drinkwater. I'm a rising senior from Jupiter, Florida, majoring in finance with a minor in wealth management. It's truly an honor to be here today as an appointee for Comptroller, and I want to thank the E&A committee for your time and dedication to the process and ensuring that every candidate is qualified to serve. My leadership foundation at UCF was built through Delta Sigma Pi, America's foremost professional co-ed business fraternity. Last semester, I served as chapter president, leading a 16-member executive board and a chapter of over 130 members, one of the largest chapters in the country. I did not just lead locally. I represented our chapter nationally, attending 2 networking conferences across the country to bring back best practices and elevate how we operated. That role challenged me in every way. I had to mediate conflict, manage competing priorities, and keep a large and diverse group moving in the same direction. But the part I'm most proud of wasn't strategy. It was trust. I became someone people came to with real personal issues, conflicts, stress, mental health, academic burnout. I wasn't the loudest in the room, but I was the person people knew they could go to, knowing I would listen without judgment and lead with empathy. That's who I strive to be as a leader in every role, and that's the kind of comptroller I'd be if confirmed. I also worked as a financial analyst in the CWEB program at Lockheed Martin for just under a year, where I helped manage over $16 million across multiple programs. As one of the youngest professionals in a Fortune 100 defense company, I was trusted to contribute to decisions that impacted national level projects. I tracked budgets, built forecasts, performed post-funding analysis, and worked directly with engineers and program managers. Many of those engineers didn't speak the financial language, so I learned to explain complex ideas clearly and effectively. That experience taught me how to be a translator between technical accuracy and human understanding, something I believe is critical to this role. That mindset, the desire to take ownership and keep learning, has shaped everything I do. I've held a job since the day I turned 15, from my first paycheck to multi-million-dollar budget reviews. I've always believed that trust is earned, one decision, one responsibility at a time. When I started at Lockheed Martin, I did not know everything, and my manager did not expect me to. What mattered was that I asked questions and learned fast. When I became president of Delta Sigma Pi, even after serving on 3 previous executive roles, I still didn't have every answer on day one, but I stayed present, I stayed committed, and learned what I needed to do to serve well. And yes, I have not served in student government before, but I see that as a strength. I don't bring assumptions, I bring initiative, accountability, and a fresh perspective grounded in real-world finance and student leadership. If confirmed, I will work closely with the chairs of CRT, FAO, and ORS, not just to understand procedures, but to ask how they operate and where can I support their vision. These committees are essential to student funding, and I don't want to manage from a distance. I want to collaborate side by side and help these systems run as smoothly and transparently as possible. I also believe this role does not stop with helping out the CRT, FAO, and ORS committees. If confirmed, I will actively support every branch, agency, or entity that is funded by student government. I want to be someone you can rely on, whether you're a senator, a cabinet member, or an RSO trying to navigate the funding process. I'll keep my door open and my phone on. To me, leadership is not about titles. It's about showing up when no one's clapping. It's about showing up, being consistent, and staying grounded even when things get hard. That's how I've led before, and that's how I would lead as comptroller if confirmed. I'll also be someone you can count on. I'll respond, I'll take initiative, and I'll hold myself to the same high standards I ask of others. I may have things to learn, but I have everything to give. I don't want to just serve as comptroller, I want to serve as your comptroller. And if confirmed, I will honor this role fully, faithfully, and with everything I have. Thank you, and I now yield my time for questions.
Okay, we are now in a period of questioning. Are there any questions, Senator Varela?
As part of your proposal, you talk about accountability committees, especially ORS. You see talk about investigating financial concerns. Do you foresee this as a separate duty away from VPFs and PRFs?
Can you repeat the last part of your question? I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, do you think it's gonna be a separate duty of ORS or a separate thing we're gonna work together with aside from VPFs and PRFs?
Absolutely. Thank you for your question, Senator. No, I believe it's going to be a combined duty. I believe, working with CRT and FAO to ensure that funds are being allocated appropriately, and if there's any misuse of funding, to work with ORS, the chair, and the committee to ensure that everything is going smoothly with funding.
Senator Lipner?
Thank you, Chair. Throughout your proposal and in your speech, you mentioned a connection with students and advocating for and with them to get funding accessible. Do you have any concerns with that contradicting your duties as a unbiased auditor? And how will you navigate that process?
Could you repeat the question one more time? I couldn't hear the last part.
Yeah, sorry about that. Do you have any concerns acting as an unbiased auditor if you are also acting as an advisor to certain RSOs or students in your role?
Thank you for your question, Senator. No, I don't have any concerns about that. In my role at Delta Sigma Pi, I've expressed that when there's certain situations, I have to separate my friends from my professional, coworkers. And when it comes down to auditing, what's being done and what's not following the rules, whether it's regarding Title VIII, ensuring that we're upholding those statutes, and that comes nothing with whether it's a friend in an RSO or someone that I know. I completely separate my bias from anything, and I would have no bias in this role.
Senator Varela?
Yeah, another ROS question. You also talk about in your accountability committees part about creating internal response timelines. Would these timelines apply to the ROS VPFs or the ROS PRFs, the R processes?
Thank you for your question. It would coincide, so I would like to work with the ORS chair and review those, ensure that it would match the same timelines that you have, just to ensure that when the RSOs are receiving these sanctions and receiving them in a timely manner, just ensuring that there's another eye looking over, and I'd like to work with not only the ORS chair, but the CRT and FAO chair to ensure RSOs understanding how the process works and how the post-funding process works.
So I was looking through your resume, and so you were president of your fraternity as well as the list of other positions. But do you have any experience dealing with the finances of an RSO, whether it be your fraternity or some other RSO you may have been a member of?
Absolutely. So as president, even before I was president, I served on the vice president of finance committee 2 times, where I worked in planning to go to conferences. This past semester, I worked directly with the vice president of finance, where we sent 8 members to Charlotte. So we went and booked the flights, went over everything, how we were going to fundraise for that money and how we could plan forward. So when I was transitioning over with the next president this past semester, they would have the resources that they need to go to these new conferences and to benefit the chapter as much as possible. So I've not only worked in funding, conferences and things like that, but also supporting the entire brotherhood as possible. So I'd review the budget with the VPF and their committee very frequently and ensure that everything and the transactions are accurate and up to date.
Senator Rickett?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. For the candidate, can you give us a step-by-step guide on how a RSO or person will receive funding from FAO?
Absolutely. Thank you for your question, Senator. So for a RSO or individual to receive funding from a FAO, they would have to submit that at least 4 weeks ahead of time before the event would recur. For FAO, it can be events, projects, or promo items. Before that, they would have to submit their allocation form via Night Connect at least 2 business days prior to the FAO meeting. After that, the FAO meeting would occur and they would vote on that. If the outcome was approved, they would go and meet with the ANSF business office, and a travel and procurement coordinator would set up, or my bad, that was for CRT. For FAO, they would set up the allocation for whether there was an event, ensuring that it was being held on campus, or if the promo items are being given out with a cap of $800, they are funded by SG and they are labeled clearly by that.
Okay, Senator Lipner?
Hello again. Thank you so much for your questions and your time. Another question regarding your auditing process and staying unbiased. Do you have any concerns in regards to your process of formatting these proposals for CRT, FAO funding, and other forms of student government or ANSF funding? And how will you work with the individuals in the seats that are typically responsible for those duties in that process?
Could you repeat the first part of your question, please?
Yeah, of course. So in your proposals and in your speech, you mentioned writing basically like one-pagers for certain funding processes. Why are you doing that as opposed to the CRT or FAO chairs?
Thank you for your question, Senator. I would work directly with the CRT and FAO chairs to work on those infographic guides. I have noticed they are already supplemented on the SG website and through the RSO forms, which I've witnessed myself. So just be collaborating with them, and through my experience as being a leader of an RSO, possibly adding some things or clarify some things, because I know it can sometimes be difficult on an RSO individual side to understanding how the funding process works. So I'd be working with them. It would not be something I would solely work on myself.
Senator Rickett and then Senator Verla.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. To the candidate, can you tell me how the reversions would work through the CRT committee if an RSO were to receive funding, and what would happen if they didn't spend all the money?
Absolutely. So if an RSO was allocated, let's say $500 for a conference in Jacksonville, and they ended up only spending $400 of that, then they would be placed on a possible sanction from the Operations Review and Sanctions Committee, and that money would be reverted back. So that money would be reverted back, and that would be part of the number that I would give to the Senate weekly on the reversion rates for that specific Senate Fiscal Committee account. And then the Operations Review Sanctions Committee would review on how significant the reversion rate was, as there are different tiers for how much an RSO could be sanctioned.
Senator Verla.
Two, if I may.
You may.
Yeah, since a large part of your proposal is built on like funding accountability, can you name just a few of the things that CRT funds cannot go to?
Absolutely. So CRT funds cannot go to for individuals. They cannot fund service trips. They can also not fund personal and rental vehicles. They can also not fund Airbnbs. And then I believe any hotels that are over $225, those also have to be specially approved.
The same question, but for FAO.
Yeah, absolutely. So for FAO, you cannot, anything off campus usually will not be approved. Anything on campus would be approved. And then for the promo items, those would have to be less than $800.
Senator Lipner.
Two, if I may, they're short.
You may.
First off, which title is the Code of Ethics?
I believe the Code of Ethics is titled 10.
And then which title is the Code of, or I'm sorry, the Student Government Transparency title?
I don't have the direct knowledge of those other titles. I know the Finance Code was Title 8, and I've reviewed those titles.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions? Okay, ensure that these questions are directly related to the job. Senator Rickett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. To the candidate, can you give us one or two rules or regulations in the Finance Code?
Absolutely. Any. Thank you for your question, Senator. Any rules specifically, or any? Just
anyone you want.
Okay. I can give the duties of the comptroller if that's something that would. So the duties of the comptroller is to serve as chief financial officer of student governing bodies, let the Senate know at the weekly meetings regarding the Senate Fiscal Committee account balances and reversion rates, serve as a liaison between student government and entities receiving funding from student government, and notify any misuse of funding to the student body president and Operations Review and Sanctions Committee. Let the Senate know of any ANSF budget transfers that cumulatively exceed greater than 10% of the original authorized budget. Work with the student body president in the fiscal unit and complete any other specialized tasks related to financial matter. Also work with the CRT and FAO chairs to ensure all funding is allocated appropriately and report any deviations to the ORS committee. I'll also approve and review allocation request forms for use by the Senate. I'll also serve fully in the role until another comptroller was appointed. If there was supposed to be an elect or a temporary one, they would have 30 school days. But those are the roles of the comptroller specifically.
Okay, Senator Trejo Hernandez.
On your proposals, you says you intend to create and provide training to RSOs on how to rectify identify and report improper financial activity? How do you plan on doing that, and how would you define improper financial activity?
Could you repeat the last part of your question?
How would you define improper financial activity?
Absolutely. So improper financial activity, I would like to build on what Kylie has done this past semester. So training in financial literacy and hosting those sessions regarding CRT, FAO, and ORS funding, and build off of that and ensure that RSOs have all the tools necessary to go through the funding process and the post-funding process. Improper, basically financial use could be things that an RSO's funding that may not be super beneficial to their RSO, ensuring that it benefits everyone in the RSO and the student body as a whole.
Senator Lipner.
Hi again. In your proposals, you mentioned one-on-one sessions with RSOs and students who are looking for funding. How do you expect to balance that with the senatorial responsibilities to represent RSOs and support them throughout the funding process with SG?
Thank you for your question, Senator. I plan to have office hours where RSOs or anyone, student government agents, students, anyone in this room, senators can come speak to me and set those times up. So I'll have plenty of time available. And if confirmed, I plan on dedicating my entire schedule to this role.
Senator Rickett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. To the candidate, if you found that the budgets for CRT and FAO are not aligned with yours, what steps would you go to mitigate or correct the issue?
Thank you for your question, Senator. Was the question like whether they were aligning with my goals or the goals of the student government as a whole?
Well, let's say that what your budget is and your budget tracking is not the tracking of the CRT or FAO committees.
Okay, so you're saying if the tracking was misaligned and the numbers were not accurate on both sides?
Correct.
Okay. First, I would ensure that the numbers that I have on my side are correct before I would set up a meeting. And with the chairs, I would set up a meeting with the specific respective chair and go through on possibly what are the two account balances and look for any deviations and try to find the transaction that shows the difference in between the two. And then we'll just come to a conclusion of how this might have happened and how to prevent this from happening in the future to ensure we're both aligned on the goals and the accurate balances of the fiscal committee balances.
Okay, Senator Reed.
Yeah, can you just give an overview of what is in Title 8?
Yeah, absolutely. So starting with Chapter 800 covers the financial responsibility and control. Chapter 801 covers the duty of the Comptroller. Chapter 802 covers the Student Government Finance Committee. Chapter 803 covers the ANSF Budget Committee. Chapter 804 covers the Scholarship Committee. Chapter 805 covers CRT and FAO committees. Chapter 806 covers the ORS Committee, followed by 3 appendices, starting with Appendix A with the CRT Committee, where it goes into timelines, deadlines, things that can be purchased, things that cannot. Then Appendix B, which goes into FAO, very similar timelines, deadlines, things that can be purchased and things cannot. And then Appendix C, which goes into the Operations Review and Sanctions Committee regarding the sanctions, timelines, and post-funding process.
Senator Trejo Hernandez.
Maybe follow up. Within your proposal, you've said that you're going to do a valuation on the ANSF fee. And one of them saying is comparing UCF's ANSF budget with those institutions in Florida and nationally. What do you hope to achieve by doing this analysis?
Thank you for your question. For this initiative, I plan on using this as long-term data for the previous comptrollers that have collected data and the future comptrollers. So if it is deemed that an ANSF service fee does not need to be raised, this initiative is simply used as data. So when in 5 or 10 years, that comptroller or student government can go to the Board of Trustees or Board of Governors and explain, for the last 10 years, we've noticed a certain trend, whether it's an inflation or growth in fees or just a growth in the overall student body as well, that this data can be backed up. And then if it is deemed that it's to be necessary to be raised, I would speak with the proper individuals and administrators to go about it in the best proper manner.
Okay, we have around a minute remaining in questioning, so please be aware. Senator Varela and then Senator Gaudio.
Yeah, I'll be quick. So last year in student government, we had an issue of international students reverting many of their CRT funds because of visas and just extra documents you need to go for leaving for international. Do you have any strategies to address this issue?
Yeah, what was the last part of your question?
Yeah, just with the problem, do you have any strategies to address it?
Thank you for your question, Senator. I don't have any direct experience working with that specific issue, but I definitely looking to explore those specific ways that we could solve it. I think the best way, when many of the roles that I've gone into, whether it's been at Lockheed Martin or Delta Sigma Pi, I've once I've gotten into a role, you learn so much more quickly than reading sometimes things on paper. So I'd definitely be willing to learn as much as possible about that.
Okay, Senator Gaudio, you have 30 seconds.
Could you just tell me a little bit about the significance of, because the fiscal year is about to roll over, could you just go over like the significance of the fiscal year rolling over?
Absolutely. Thank you very much for your question, Senator. So the significance of the fiscal year rolling over, I understand that the Senate this past session approved the budget for this following year. So upholding the fact that the budget was approved by many different individuals in the Senate here, and I respect that. So I'll be upholding and maintaining that within Title VIII and the Finance Code to ensure that fiscal budget is being followed. And I understand that there are probably many agencies and departments that have either had increases and decreases in funding. So just being aware that maybe some individuals or agencies may be wanting to ask for more funding, but ensure I'll be there to support them as much as possible so they can use their funding for the best of the ability to benefit the student body.
Senator Bonaventure?
Motion move to debate.
There's been a motion to move to debate. Any objections? Seeing none, we are now in debate. Did I see? Okay, Senator Lipner and then Senator Benesh.
Alrighty, as I did in ENA, although that was in executive session, so I'll be kind of explaining that process again. I will be abstaining because I also was in the role or process of consideration for this role, so I don't want to vote in either way and potentially skew it, but I do want to share some thoughts as someone who was in that role and some green and red flags about this candidate, because I do think he is extremely qualified, but I do have some concerns that I want to voice, even if he is confirmed, in order to ensure that those concerns are heard and adjusted for. So first and foremost, the green flags, because I'd like to start with the good things. Essentially, this candidate is extremely qualified. His background and resume speaks for itself. I think this candidate has a clear understanding of why this position is so impactful and has the want and courage to step into the position and learn, which I think is what first and foremost a comptroller needs. So I'm very, very excited to see that. On the bad side, however, I am a little concerned about his accountability, transparency, and his understanding of what the statutory outlines goals and
15 seconds.
sorry, and essentially what the comptroller is expected to do within statutes and how his proposals go beyond that and potentially overstep on other branches' expectations. Thank you.
Senator Benesh?
Hi, can you guys hear me okay? I'm sorry.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, perfect. I will be kind of echoing the same sentiments as Senator Lipner, but I will be voting in favor of this candidate. I believe he's extremely qualified, although I do have my concerns, especially around transparency, as well as staying impartial towards advising. Besides that, I think this candidate is great. I think his experience at Lockheed Martin really exemplifies his qualities. And of course, shout out to the 561, go Jupiter.
Okay, anybody else wishing to speak in debate? Senator Gaudio.
So I have had plenty of time to think on this candidate because I also sat in when he arrived on E&A, but I believe that I will also be voting in favor of this candidate now, as many of my initial concerns have been assuaged. And truth be told, his question on artificial intelligence on E&A, that honesty just really stuck out to me, and just that show of character. That's someone I believe is right for the job.
With 3.5 from, well, wait, no, that wasn't 3. Reed?
Yeah, I was just kind of gagged by repeating everything in Title VIII. I thought that was kind of shocking. Cool. And honestly, for that, I'll be voting yes. But I think overall, just between seeing you in ENA and then today, I think I've gotten a really clear understanding of who you are as an individual as well as a candidate. And for that, I'll be voting yes. And I encourage you all to do the same.
Okay, now with 3 in affirmation, are there any negation? Chair Gaudio?
Move to vote.
There's been a motion to vote. Any objections? Seeing none, we are now in voting procedures. Okay, with a vote count of 44 to 3 to 1, James Drinkwater has been confirmed as our comptroller. Next up, we have Andi Ayup for Director of Communications. And if I got your last name wrong, feel free to correct me.
Just to clarify, it's Ayup, but thank you so much. Good evening, Senators. First and foremost, thank you for taking the time to meet with myself and my fellow appointees, and thank you for your diligence in reviewing our proposals for each of our respective positions. My name is Andi Ayup. I am one of 4 children of 2 immigrant parents. My dad is from Cuba, and my mother is from Canada, which is where my sisters and I were raised. At the age of 10, my family and I packed our bags and moved to Florida, a foreign land where the only snow is served on cones and people speak English, not French. Having to learn how to speak English in these transformative years was hard. I was enrolled in a public school that offered an English as a second language class, or ESOL, for foreign students. But we all spoke different languages. So really, the only thing we all had in common was that we didn't speak English. Still, that is exactly where my passion for communication began. Not in the form of spoken word, but in other ways we choose to communicate with one another. Holding the door for someone as if to say, come on in, you're welcomed here. Giving a friend a hug instead of telling them, I love you and I'm here for you. A mom tuning into a live stream to watch her son at his collegiate SG confirmation session to show her support. Hi, Mom. And the people in this room or on Zoom taking the time out of their day to be here present, as opposed to saying, I care about UCF and its students. These are all ways that we communicate with one another, and no matter what language you speak, you hear the message loud and clear. Today, I'm a senior studying advertising and public relations with a minor in entrepreneurship. I come before you to share the ways I would plan on enhancing, expanding, and contributing to the role student government plays within our community through communication and outreach. My goals, ideas, and initiatives for this division are supported by 3 pillars, which will spearhead the work I plan to execute: community, support, understanding. I hold community as my first value because it represents a large part of why we are all here today. Student government leaders care about our school, and it is by working together that we can provide the best experience for UCF students. I plan on delivering messaging across our social platforms that will demonstrate and invite students to participate in events and activities that will get them involved in our social landscape, as well as enrich their experience here at UCF. Student government does a lot for our community, which is why it is so important to share this with our audience. This leads me into my second mission, support. Although our 3 branches work in different ways to help our student body, the idea remains the same. Our goals and initiatives, bills and statutes, committees, justices, hearings, they're all here to support our students and many times to protect them. It's important to me to let them know the progress that is being made throughout the year and show them the different ways student government's advocacy is molding our campus into a more inclusive and safe space. I plan on working with the different branches to share with our students the work they are doing and communicate the resources that become available to them as the year progresses. Finally, what all of this has in common brings me to my final and third value, understanding. This, in my opinion, is a key fundamental of communications and an idea that I hope will live within the Division of Communications and Outreach for as long as it exists. Our job is to provide our students with all of the information and resources they need to succeed, as well as ensure they understand the things that are going on at UCF. If approved by Senate, I will use my role to provide messaging that is easy to digest and keeps our students up to date with the happenings of the university. It's not uncommon that students will have questions, and I will work diligently with my team to clear the fog and reward our students who seek further understanding with the clarification they need. To make all of this possible, I rely heavily on my previous experience in advertising and public relations, as well as the connections I've made with real industry professionals within my role as vice president of the only student chapter of the Florida Public Relations Association. My different internship experiences range from governmental communications all the way to advertising agencies in Lake Mary and Orlando, which have taught me skills that will support me in this role. My experience in leadership, passion, and love of our school, as well as my background in varying fields of communications, advertising, and public relations, make me confident that I will be able to meet my role's expectations and set a new standard for what the Division of Communications and Outreach can accomplish. Thank you again. I would like to yield the rest of my time and use the next few minutes to answer any questions you may have for me now.
Okay, we're now in period of questioning. Senator Barilla.
May I direct a question towards the ENA chair?
You may if he is available to answer.
Or the ENA vice chair?
You may.
Yeah, I'm seeing on the ENA minutes that this candidate had 7 combined no's and abstentions, which outnumbers the 5 yeses. And going through the minutes, I can't quite see where the apprehension was from the committee. So can you explain where the apprehension was from the committee?
Yeah, so when it comes to the apprehension that we had in the executive session, I know that, Senator specifically noted how with the initiatives, there wasn't really more detail specifically about department connectivity. So I do apologize for not noting that in the minutes. Did you want any more answers about that?
All right, are there any other questions for the confirmee? Senator Reed.
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask a quick question about your proposal. So I understand you were talking about refining the SG website pages, including providing clean, professional, consistent headshots for all cabinet members. Would you consider doing that for all other branches, or would you just keep that within cabinet?
Is that better? Okay, sorry about that. I would be more than happy to include the other branches in that initiative if that is something that they're interested in. I feel like the Division of Communications and Outreach might not have that many initiatives within the communication, but that's okay because part of our job is to uplift the other SG agents and provide a platform for them to best execute their jobs and fulfill their initiatives.
Senator Lipner.
Hi there. Can you explain a little bit further about your experience with other clubs and how you expect that participation to whether continue or not in this upcoming year?
I'm sorry, can you just repeat that last part of that question? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, let me rephrase that whole question. How many hours do you expect to put into this position in the upcoming year? And do you have any other priorities that may overlap or do you know what I'm trying to say? Sorry, I'm losing my words.
You may
Can you
have
all?
to question one more time.
That's all right. Sorry about that. Let me recollect and get back to you. Sorry about that.
Okay, Senator Barilla.
Yeah. As the director of communications, do you have any strategies about how to manage the workload of posts from all 3 branches and the caucuses and the election commission?
So the way I plan on doing that is by partnering with the different leaders within these caucuses, branches, and just any interested party that wants to have their messaging heard within our platforms. So I fully intend on having regular meetings with our external legislative assistant and external assistant chief justice. As for parties that lie outside of that scope, I would be happy to meet on a sporadic basis whenever you feel you would need to meet with me to best accommodate your communication needs.
Okay, Senator Lipner, did you figure out your question?
Yes. Sorry about that, guys. It's been a really rough day for me. How many hours per week are you expecting to put aside for this position? And what do you expect those week-to-week responsibilities to look like?
So it's my understanding that the expectations for this position require me to work up to 15 hours a week, and I fully intend on delivering on that commitment. As for how the responsibilities will look like, I plan on managing my time by gauging the workload I have on a week-by-week basis and seeing what best ways I could deliver on my promises, initiatives, and responsibilities by going on that kind of week-by-week timeline of wherever I need to be and try to fulfill that promise.
Senator Trejo Hernandez.
Can you expand on your proposal on how you tend to refine the SU website?
Yes. So it's my goal to make the student government website super easy to digest and easy to locate anything that a student outside of student government, whatever information they're looking for, I want it to be easy to access. So if you are someone whose name is on the SG website, if you're a chair or if you're a leader of some sort and you have your little email there for students to connect with you should they have any questions, I want it to be easy for them to understand what exactly your role is and how you can help or assist them in any inquiry they might have.
Okay, are there any other questions? Senator Trejo Hernandez.
How would you plan on dealing with delays and changes in the website as we've had this previous session?
So to change the actual website,
just like general updates, like you say, hey, can you change this? And there's just a delay.
And there's just what? I'm sorry.
A delay.
A delay. I think the best way to tackle any delays in different changes I want to make through the website, I know I'll have to coordinate with different parties and OSI, pardon me, who manages the website and the changes that are made through there. I would have to be to ensure my timeliness in these requests, I would have to make sure that everything that I want to change is done in a timely manner so that by the time the changes are implemented with a grace period, should there be any sort of delays or setbacks, we can have all of those changes being made hopefully as soon as possible.
Senator Lipner.
May I retain?
You may not.
No worries. I'll just ask the question then. I noticed a lack of proposals regarding your oversight of your fellow members of your committee, or sorry, not committee, the communication division. So what are your plans there? What are your expectations? What are your proposals? I'd love to hear any of your thoughts.
So I didn't clearly outline the way that I plan on leading my team, only because I'm not 100% sure just yet what my team will look like. I plan on working with each individual to cater to their needs in the sense of what leadership style works best for them, what schedule works best for them, what is the work environment that they'll thrive in. We have a big job for a small team of people. So I plan on having weekly meetings with my team internally to discuss the expectations for that week. If there is anything that, for example, the graphic design coordinator might be worried about fulfilling, and if they're worried about not being able to meet a deadline, I would work with them to see why that happened and how we can remedy that so it doesn't happen again. I also know that a lot of times things might kind of pile up. We kind of tend to go through a season in communications where things are kind of quiet, but then all of a sudden we have so many communication demands that we have to fulfill. So I plan on using our time, especially during the summer, to create these blank kind of UCF themed, UCF affiliated graphics that if in case of an emergency that we have a quick turnaround and we need to post something, we have kind of a baseline that we can use and we can pull from. As for my digital media coordinator, I would want to adhere to their schedule and make it so that they can attend as many events as possible. My expectation for them would be to be able to record what is going on in these events and post them. Many of the events held by student government are recurring. And so just because a student didn't go to the first coffee with the cop, for example, doesn't mean that we can't capture that moment, post it, and entice students to come to future events of that nature.
Okay, Senator Chow, Senator Gadia.
Two, if I may?
You may.
Can you expand on your communication style when it comes to handling conflicts or disagreements with the departments and branches that you will work with?
So I'm a big believer in praise in public and critique in private. So within the different departments that I'll be working with, I'm super happy to uplift the other individuals who are also interested in sharing our platforms and taking part in communications with the students. Now, the only time I could foresee any hiccups within my relationships with the other SG agents would be whenever an expectation is not met, or more specifically, whenever a requirement is not fulfilled, a deadline is missed, anything of that nature. So as I kind of previously just touched on really quickly, the way that I would remedy that would be to meet with them privately, see exactly what happened for us to kind of fall short in that regard, and see what we can do so that we can implement a change in which that won't happen again. If we lead with respect and we all have the same goal in mind, which is to share our events, our initiatives, all the things that are happening within student government with our students. So I feel like at the end of the day, we are all on the same team. So it's by that having that kind of idea of respect and working together in camaraderie that we'll be able to achieve as much as we can with our short year.
Hey, Chair Gaudio.
So you mentioned
Wait,
having.
I'm so sorry. I did say that she could do her second question.
No worries. Yeah, so when it comes to your specific role, once again, can you go ahead and expand on how you will prioritize certain obligations and statutory duties compared to your requests from departments or other branches, and how would you specifically balance that?
So I would need to really take a good look at all of the things that I'm tasked with. Anything that I'm able to delegate within my department would be something that I'd be eager to do, because it would also allow the agents within my division to take initiative and to grow within their role. As for other tasks that are delegated specifically to me, I would have to gauge the difference between the urgency and the importance of the tasks at hand. I'm a firm believer that having a nice balance between tackling anything that's urgent, but also taking time to work on things that are important will give you a nice balance and will help you achieve as much as you can. And as for the statutory bindings that I would have if I'm confirmed within this role, it is my goal to attend as many legislative sessions as possible, because I really want to understand what is happening within our legislative branch so that I am equipped to communicate all of these happenings with the students.
Okay, we have around 4 minutes left. Chair Gaudio.
So, you've mentioned these one-on-one meetings you plan on having with your team, getting a feel for where they are, but I'd like to expand a little more on enforcing timelines and deadlines. Do you have any particular methods on how you're going to organize and enforce those timelines and deadlines, whether it's through use of software, through be it Trello or Microsoft Calendars or what have you? And if you have team members that are not meeting those deadlines that you have laid out, how do you plan on enforcing, I guess, discipline against them?
Thank you for that question. It's completely valid. To want to ensure that any needs that you have are met within the division, and that we don't have problems within the division that will hinder your needs in communications. So as for deadlines, I'm looking forward, if appointed and confirmed, to meet with the other parties that will be more directly involved, the people that I'll be meeting bi-weekly with, to see what is the best timeline for them to be able to know what kind of events will be hosted by their branch or by their committees or by their caucuses, but also have all the information at hand, right? Because when we do graphics, we need to know the room, the times, the location, what the event will entail, and also give time for the graphics design coordinator to kind of let that creativity flow and kind of be able to put all of their efforts in. So I plan on having regular checkpoints when I know we have different tasks and messaging needs that we're working on throughout the week, just to make sure that we're still on track. If we come with an agreement between myself and the other branches of a nice consistent timeline in which we are well enough in advance to be able to fulfill all of our requests, but also not too far in advance that is just unreasonable for everyone to put their requests in, I'll strictly enforce that by letting others know that if of course, this will be kind of gauged by a case-by-case basis, but if we're agreeing upon a timeline and you can't follow through within that request, I wouldn't want to put someone else on the back burner that put in that request in a timely manner that fulfilled all of our questions. In the advertising world, someone puts in a request and we go through up to 3 revisions. I want whoever is putting their request for the Division of Communications to be able to feel happy, content, and satisfied with the way that we're putting out their message. So I would want to be able to meet with those parties to say, hey, what do you think of this? Is this good? Or do you have any notes, any corrections? So that's kind of like going back on that basis of having that preconceived notion of this will be our rigid timeline. This is what we're going to follow. And that's also why I want to have these sample graphics in case of emergency, in case there's something that was inevitable. We are all students who are super, super busy to have that. So that's something I'll gauge on a case-by-case basis. I'm really rambling on this question. It was kind of a loaded question for me. So for any students in my division that can't meet these deadlines, I don't want to hinder the party involved in sharing those communications. So if I need to step in, take over and assist just to make sure that we meet that deadline before, like I said, having that one-on-one, seeing exactly where we kind of like fell short. That's how I would plan on using my role to fulfill all of our duties and all of my promises to all of the parties that want to share our platforms.
Okay, questioning time has elapsed. Is there a motion? Senator Gaudio.
Move to debate.
There's been a motion to move to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now in a period of debate. Chair Gaudio and then Senator Banesh.
So I did present a very tough question during questioning. It is a question that I myself have had to confront as a engineering design team lead, having to manage other people and enforce strict deadlines. It was really my big concern during E&A. And I think that his answer was, frankly, that's the exact answer that I would have given. Just that maintaining a schedule, maintaining deadlines, having checkpoints is so important. But then, of course, also accounting for, people have lives, be flexible. You can't be completely constrained to that. And so just hearing that, I am very convinced. I will be voting in favor.
Senator Banesh.
Hi, everybody. I just want to say thank you to the candidate for speaking to us. You had very eloquent and concise answers. And with that, I will be choosing to vote in favor. I was immediately impressed. I'm an E&A, but I wasn't present for this vote. And I was very, very impressed by the quality of their materials. Like, you're the director, you might be the director of communications. Like, that presentation, mwah. Perfect. I love your experience as well. Quotes, if you guys do not know, the Ad PR Club on campus is one of the best in the school, if not, one of the best in the country. So I'm extremely impressed by this experience. I'm extremely impressed by this candidate's answers, and I will be voting in favor. I hope to do the same. And with that, move to vote.
There's been a motion to move to vote. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now at a period of voting. Okay, with a vote count of 45 to 2-0, Andy Ayup has been confirmed as Director of Communications.
Thank you.
Okay, up next, we have Ali DeMarco for Governmental Affairs Coordinator.
Hello, can everyone hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay. I can start whenever?
Yep, you're good to start whenever you like.
Okay, perfect. Good evening, Senators. My name is Ali DeMarco, and I want to begin by sincerely thanking each of you for taking the time to consider me for the position of Governmental Affairs Coordinator. I'm an incoming junior here at UCF, majoring in criminal justice with a minor in legal studies on the pre-law track. I've long believed that public service and civic engagement are not just responsibilities, but that they are privileges. That belief has shaped every step of my academic, professional, and leadership journey so far. Growing up with a strong interest in American history and politics, I quickly realized that making a difference begins with showing up and being ready to serve. Since arriving at UCF in 2023, I've worked intentionally to gain hands-on experience that connects me directly to the work of advocacy, policy, and community leadership at my school. In my current position at a law firm that specializes in workers' compensation and personal injury law, I've learned firsthand how government, law, and policy directly affect people's lives. Supporting clients who are often going through some of the hardest moments of their lives has given me a deep respect for the systems that protect and serve them. It has also taught me the importance of communication, clarity, and consistency, skills I would love to bring into this role. Previously, I had the unique opportunity to work in the Office of the President here at UCF, where I supported interactions between students, faculty, and senior leadership. In that position, I saw what it takes to bridge different parts of an institution through professionalism, diplomacy, and mutual respect. Whether it was preparing for high-level meetings or assisting students navigating university processes, I learned how important it is to represent people with integrity. I've also had the opportunity to serve as vice chair of the UCF Student Government Scholarship Committee, helping organize and allocate funding for scholarship programs that reach across our diverse student body. This work reinforced the importance of equity, access, and targeted support, principles that lie at the heart of public service. This experience underscored the real impact that thoughtful policy and fair distribution of resources can have on our student body. Last summer, I gained experience working with Hillsborough County local government, where I helped mobilize low-propensity voters, created civic education materials, and engaged with constituents. That work reaffirmed for me how crucial local government is in connecting communities with the opportunity and instructions to vote. Additionally, through my participation in SGLC and ELC, I had the privilege of attending Day at the Capitol, where I worked with other students to lobby on behalf of our student body. During this event, I enjoyed advocating for bills directly impacting Florida University students, meeting with state legislators, and voicing our concerns about higher education funding, Florida Bright Futures, and other student-centered priorities. This experience gave me invaluable insight into the legislative process and deepened my commitment to making sure students' voices are heard at all levels. I also want to take a moment to share the impact that working closely with the previous governmental affairs coordinator, Brooke Martin, has had on my growth in this area. Through observing Brooke's leadership and the way she built and maintained relationships with key stakeholders and university faculty, including Janet Owen, Allison Scholes, and Austin Wilson, I gained invaluable insights into how to effectively navigate this role. Her mentorship gave me a clear understanding of the complexities of this role, and it inspired me to take the initiative in bringing fresh perspectives and new energy to the position. I'm excited to take on this role with a commitment to ensuring a smooth transition and continued success, building on the strong foundation she established. As I step into this position, I am eager to bring my own vision, leadership, and skills to advance the goals of the student body and elevate our voice at every level of government. Through all of these experiences and relationships, I've come to believe that public service should always rise above partisanship. As governmental affairs coordinator, my mission would not be to promote a particular political agenda, but to represent every student regardless of their background, identity, or political beliefs. Effective advocacy starts with listening, learning, and leading with respect for all voices. I'm committed to fostering bipartisan dialogue, building meaningful partnerships, and ensuring that student perspectives are conveyed clearly and fairly to government entities at every level. Each of these roles, from local outreach to federal engagement, has strengthened my passion for public service and bettered me to support and serve this student body in an impactful way. If confirmed as your governmental affairs coordinator, I will work to make sure student voices are heard where decisions are made. I'll foster strong relationships with government partners, advocate for issues that matter to UCF students, and promote civic education and engagement across campus. Thank you again for your time, your service, and your consideration. I look forward to the opportunity to represent and uplift our student body on and off campus. Go Knights, charge on. Thank you. I now yield my time.
Okay, we are now in a period of questioning. I'm going to go Rickett and then Varela.
Thank you. Two questions, Madam Speaker, if I may.
You may.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Speaker. To the candidate, how do you plan on working with the Senate Gap Committee?
So the GAP committee obviously serves as a great resource for myself, and if I were, to be confirmed in this position, because they really are the connection to the student body. I look forward to, hopefully creating that student advocacy agenda with the GAP committee and working close with them on events like Day at the Capitol, Downtown Day, and so on.
A second question, Madam Speaker.
You may.
Okay. If you ever find yourself in a situation where you and the GAP committee are not seeing eye to eye, or there was a deadline missed, what are your strategies and plans to go forward with that situation?
I think communication is key. I could see maybe how there would be some sort of disagreements in the past, but I think going forward, I am here to work in tandem with them. They serve me just as much as, I would like to help them. And I think that they are a great resource for me to utilize. Any disagreements can be resolved in discussions with leadership. And, I look forward to working with them.
Chair Varela,
Can I ask a double jointed question?
I didn't hear what you said.
A double jointed question.
You may.
Okay. In regards to Downtown Day, I know you were asked about your budget in ENA, but I know you don't have access to your budget yet, so I'll kind of summarize for you. But last year, as part of the ACNF budget, we passed a line that said all of the governmental affairs budget, which amounts to $15,000, any events funded with that budget must be open to all ACNF paying students. So given that your Downtown Day seems to not be open to all ACNF funding students, do you plan to change that proposal?
Yeah, again, up with, for collaboration with the GAP committee. Again, like I said, in ENA, it really depends on the budget and who we can bring, transport downtown. To me, transportation would be the only issue working with the budget. But like I said, I would love to bring as many people to those experiences through student government. Same with Day at the Capitol. I would love to bring as many people as possible to better represent, our diverse student body.
Okay, Senator Alcuda.
So my question is, and obviously, you might be able to better answer this once you have had the opportunity to meet with the GAP chair and GAP committee, but how do you personally envision selecting members of the GAP committee and other branch leadership wishing to attend the Day at the Capitol event while also ensuring that as many students outside of SG are also able to attend?
Yeah, so again, I know I keep bringing it back to the budget, but it really depends on how many people we can afford to transport up to Tallahassee. But I would love to have as many people as possible. I would implement a vetting process, probably through a Zoom or in-person interview, so I can kind of, understand the level of professionalism that, students have going into that and ensuring that they're well equipped to talk to legislators up in Tallahassee. And I'd also love to hear, why they're interested in lobbying. Do they have a certain niche in legislation that they want to lobby for? Do they have a personal experience that connects them to a bill, going into session? But yes, there would be a vetting process through that.
Okay, Senator Reed and then Senator Lipner.
Yeah, so thank you so much for being here. I noticed in your speech you mentioned a lot about listening to students of all background, but I was just wondering how you would ensure that diverse student voices are considered in student government advocacy effort and not just listening, but putting those into action.
Yeah, so I think working with our comms team to, broaden the search for candidates to come to Day at the Capitol will definitely help us reach a greater number of students within the student body. I think that sometimes Day at the Capitol is hard because, student government members know it, know that it's going on and know where to apply. But hopefully we could, I plan to post at least hopefully 3 times before Day at the Capitol applications close to try and open that up to a broader group of students, again, so that we have those diverse voices and diversity of thought while we go up to Tallahassee.
Senator Lipner.
Hi there. Thank you again for all your questions and your time. Can you name the Florida House representative for UCF's main campus, along with the senator at the Florida state level?
Yes, so Maxwell Frost is our representative. Look forward to, working with him. I know that the GAP has been able to work with them previously. Currently, I cannot name the state representative, but that is, again, something I would love to explore, pending my confirmation in this role.
Follow up, if I may.
I'm going to go to Senator Rickett and then I'll come back to you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Can you describe the process on how you would work with Gray Robinson?
Yes, so I know that Kylie Anzueto is one of our representatives for UCF at Gray Robinson, and I plan, in the first couple weeks, pending my confirmation, to establish that relationship with her to figure out, scheduling meetings for the session, and everything involved with working with Gray Robinson. So, establishing those relationships early on, I think, is super important to kind of set the climate for the year ahead.
Okay, Senator Lipner.
Alrighty, similar question for the senators. Can you name the Florida state level and also the national senators for Florida? As in the senator who represents UCF's campus at the state level, and then the two senators who represent our campus at the national level.
Were you able to hear his question?
I believe he said for the senators. I
Sorry,
apologize.
I was having some connection levels. I'm happy to restate that question if you'd like.
Yes, please.
Yeah, of course. Can you name the senators both at the state and national level who represent UCF?
I'm sorry, I cannot hear you.
Okay, you're still having
Sorry.
issues.
Yeah, I am. Sorry. Let me try regrouping and get back to you.
Okay, I'm going to move on to Senator Rickett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I actually heard Senator Lipner. What he asked was, can you name the Florida House, or excuse me, the Florida Senate representatives for our UCF district, or the U.S. senators for the state of Florida?
I'm sorry. I don't know if it's on my end. I cannot.
It may be on your end, but also correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure these were exact questions asked in ENA.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, so those questions are in the ENA minutes. Alcuda?
Yeah, so I had noticed a typo in one of your materials, and I would, just for clarity, could you name what the GAP committee stands for?
Government and Politics Committee.
Okay, any other questions? Senator Banesh?
Move to debate.
There's been a motion to move to debate. Any objections? There's been an objection. Banesh, do you withdraw?
Yep.
Chair Barilla.
Two, if I may.
You may.
The first one is for the Day of the Capitol prep sessions. How involved do you foresee the GAP committee being in these prep sessions? Like, do you see them being a joint venture, or do you see them being more your jurisdiction?
Yeah, so obviously Day of the Capitol is under, my jurisdiction when it comes to the planning and et cetera, but I would love to have GAP committee involved with prepping our students going up to Day of the Capitol, especially because, they are my connection, to the greater student body, and I think it would be important, to have everyone involved.
And your second question?
Another one we did the capital planning. So for the bill assignments of groups, obviously, the bills we choose is very collaborative. But would you be looking into or willing to develop a strategy where we can assign bills to groups that are seeing the representative or senator that's more strategic and like getting that bill through, such as if a bill is being seen in the committee, a senator is in?
Yeah, I think that would be a great idea. And, in conjunction with working with Gray Robinson, I think that that would be something we could definitely look into. I think that would be a great strategy, to enhance our lobbying efforts in Tallahassee.
All right, Senator Lipner?
Just to clarify, I went back into the minutes and she was not asked about any representatives regarding UCF specifically. Can you name the senator at the state level who represents UCF's main campus?
I currently cannot, but I
Thank you.
would look into it. Yes, thank you.
Senator Rickett?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Can the candidate let us know when the next Florida Senate legislative session starts?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I apologize. I don't know.
I apologize. Could you let us know when the next Florida State legislative session starts?
I have not looked into it. I have really looked into the logistics of Day at the Capitol and working in conjunction with the GAP committee. I would love, a pending confirmation, and I would love to research more on the bills and our representatives. I do, in my initiatives, have, a plan for a panel event where I would invite, local, state, and federal representatives, including Anna Eskamani and David Smith. David Smith's one of our donors for our UCF Restores program. So I have researched quite a few representatives at the local level and state level that have really impacted our UCF community here.
Senator Kapanos?
Motion to debate.
There's been a motion to move to debate. Any objections? Seeing none, we are now in a period of debate. Chair Varela.
Thank you. I will personally be abstaining from this vote just because of the relationship between the GAP chair, who is me now, and the GAC. I believe, just to ensure a good working relationship, that I don't vote. But I will say there were some things that concerned me chiefly. The GAP committee is the Governmental Affairs and Policy Committee, not the Government and Politics Committee. So just a small thing. I would just want that to be correct. And also, like, not having knowledge of our representatives here at UCF, I think that's really important. I think that's a little bit basic civics. So it does concern me a little bit that the GAC would have lack of that sort of civics knowledge. But other than that, she seems super amicable, easy to work with. She seems like she'll be willing to learn from these mistakes. But I do hope that if she is confirmed, that she does do a little bit more to prepare for things like this and to make sure that she has more knowledge of both SG and civics.
Anybody else wishing to speak in debate? I'll go Senator Alcuda and then Chair Gaudio.
I'm going to keep this brief because I think I share many concerns with Chair Varela. But yeah, not knowing what GAP stands for, not knowing the representatives, not having that like basic governmental knowledge that I think is like really critical for this role specifically, really makes me hesitant to want to confirm this individual, although everything else really did impress me. Those just kind of really disappointed me and kind of were deal breakers for me personally.
Senator Gaudio.
I was relatively impressed by the candidate during ENA. However, I must echo the previous sentiments that the lack of this civic knowledge by someone who is pursuing a position to deal with these civic figures as well as they will be working very, very closely with the GAP committee if confirmed. And so while it is a small slip up to not completely remember the name, that attention to detail, especially when you're dealing with government affairs, is incredibly important. And so that is a cause for concern, in my opinion.
Senator Banesh.
First of all, I just want to say thank you for speaking with us once again. We just saw you in ENA, and I was thoroughly impressed, and I will still be voting in favor for Ms. DeMarco here. And I just want to kind of say something to my fellow senators. I feel like you guys need to be a little bit more considerate when considering these candidates. I understand some of your concerns, and I definitely might echo some of them as well, like not knowing the representatives and whatnot. However, things like not knowing the GAP acronym properly, guys, we've all made mistakes. Politics, policy, please give her some grace and try not to attack her for something as little as that. There are other things that you can maybe comment on, but at the end of the day, I really don't see that as too much of an issue, and I think she is extremely qualified for the position, so I will be voting in favor, and I dearly encourage you all to do the same.
Senator Corelli.
Yeah, I'll be voting in favor. As someone on GAP, I look forward to working with her, and I don't think that, small little things like not knowing the acronym or not knowing the exact start date of the legislative session is something that defines someone. Yeah, little stuff like that doesn't really matter. So I'll be voting in favor, and I encourage everyone else to do the same.
Senator Reed.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, like it is an ENA, I will also be voting in favor for this candidate. I had the privilege of meeting and working with Ms. DeMarco in SGLC and ELC, and she was always a very driven and motivated person, and I think that's really admirable. And I really enjoyed her proposals, although I do listen and I echo some of the sentiments of my previous senators and their concerns, but I know based on our conversations, Ms. DeMarco will, kind of look those things up or do her research in that sense, and I know this maybe I don't understand it, but it's a very intimidating process. And so kind of like what Banesh said, like give a little bit of grace. But overall, I really enjoyed Mr. Marco's proposal and I look forward to seeing what she does.
Okay, with three affirmation, are there any negation? Okay, Senator Rickett and then Senator Lipner.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm not going to be voting in favor of this candidate. I'll be voting in negation. It really did kind of rub me the wrong way that, she did not know when the actual, time frame for the Florida legislative session would happen. And that's very, very critical because it's going to come up soon in January.
Senator Lipner?
Yeah, I was honestly very surprised to hear that she didn't know which representatives represented us at the state level, specifically Guillermo Smith at the Senate and Placencia in the representatives' spots. They are both individuals who have been very vocal about supporting UCF, and I wanted a GAC who was at least somewhat familiar with them, and if not, willing and open to that process of learning. And I was concerned by how she answered those questions and then tried to dodge said question. And while I understand that may have been a general confusion, it still was a red flag. And for those reasons, as well as the others that previous senators have mentioned, I'll be voting in negation. Thank you.
Okay, please in the future, please do not make speculations. Chair Gaudio.
Move to vote.
There's been a motion to vote. Any objections? Seeing none, we are now on voting procedures. That is 2/3 correct. Okay, yes, it is. With a vote count of 30 to 15 to 2, Ali DeMarco has been confirmed as the Governmental Affairs Coordinator. Thank you to all of the exec branch confirmees that have come out today. I really appreciate all of you being here and so happy to see you all support each other. For Senate, is there a motion to confirm Zachary Gaudio for College of Graduate Studies seat 5 by general consent?
So moved.
Studies seat 5 now. Chair Gaudio?
I move to, we have to be out of here by 9, right?
Correct.
I move to postpone confirmation for the Deputy Pro Tempore of Legislative Affairs and the Deputy Pro Tempore of Senate Relations until our next regularly scheduled Senate meeting.
There's been a motion to postpone the confirmations of the Deputy Pro Tempore of Legislative Affairs and the Deputy Pro Tempore of Senate Relations until our next regularly scheduled Senate meeting. Are there any objections?
I second that motion.
Seeing none. Internal legislation, notice of legislation on first reading, proclamations, Proclamation 5701, proclamation recognizing May 22nd, 2025 as International Day for Biological Diversity. Senator Lipner remanded to SBA, and Proclamation 5702, proclamation recognizing June as Pride Month and June 12th, 2025 as Orlando United Day. Senator Lipner also remanded to SBA. Notice of legislation on third reading, none. Notice of legislation on second reading, none. Senate forum, none. Senate deliberation, none. Advisors report, Brody.
Hello, I'm here. Okay. Yeah, sorry, I was, listening intently and not paying attention to what time it was, so I'm just dramatically not ready. Congrats to all of our new committee chairs and everybody that's coming into a new leadership role. Excited to see all the vice chairs next week. I will briefly say being a vice chair is a great first step into a leadership role. Every single person in Senate is capable and qualified to do it, not just technically, but like you do have the skills, you can do it. If you're interested, run for it. Yeah, I don't know that I have a lot else. If you guys need anything, come around. I'm in the office. or shoot me a message. Yeah, there will be more things in the future as I remember to say them. Oh, you've all been added to the Night Connect, but you do have to go and like accept the invitation. So if you're wondering where the absence request form is, if you can't see it, that's probably why. Sometimes Night Connect doesn't do what you want it to do. So if you're having trouble, if you click on the invitation and then it says there's no invitations, just send me a message and I'll manually add you on the back end. Because sometimes it just doesn't do what you want. Yeah, that's it for me. Yeah.
Is it on like the SG email
Say it again.
for Night Connect?
No, it'll be your NID login for Night Connect. Yeah. Just like if you're a part of an RSO, same deal. Cool. Let's do some super fast senator shoutouts because I love them and I will never not do them. Okay. Who's got one? Gaudio.
Trejo Hernandez for being awesome as always in LJR and not.
All right. Yeah, Quartz.
I'm going to shout out me and Bobby, our first 2 meetings as chairs and different perspectives when we're doing confirmations. So.
Word. All right. Green.
Shout out to Chair Rose for winning the election for ORS chair again.
I really tried to stop it this time, but nobody. Not really. I'm happy Sam was there. Yeah, Daisy.
Shout out to all chairs.
All
Vice Chair Rella, who got elected last.
All right. Smith.
Shout out to Senator Reed. Thank you so much for getting in contact with the College of Humanity Senators. I really appreciate that as a new senator. So yeah, thank you.
Ooh, and that's a really good point. I will, because I forgot until you just said that. There are not channels, but chats for each of the colleges. So I will go ahead and add you all to those chats. That way that'll be used for the ELA to help schedule D meetings and things, but you can also go back and look at what your previous senators in that college have discussed and talked about. So I will make sure to help make those connections for you all. Cabanos.
I wanted to shout out SBA Chair Marla. How are we doing? Great job. Congrats. I'm so glad that came out of SGLC and rose to the top. I'm excited to see what you do as chair.
All right. Yeah, Varela.
Shout out to you, Brody. Thank you for staying up so late to like 9 p.m. I'm sure it's like past your bedtime. And also shout out to everyone who got my name correctly. It's apparently really difficult, but thank you. It's Varela. I really appreciate it if you get it correctly, huh? You said it correctly, yes. I was very appreciative. So thank you to everyone who says my name correctly.
Wow, somebody's salty. All right. Yeah, Mila.
Shout out to our new Deezer Kapanos, and also shout out to our vice chair for ENA, Vice Chair Chow. Those minutes were just beautiful. So
Q means come for me, guys.
Yeah, Kapanos will be Deezer, once, yeah. So congrats to the Deezer appointee, Kapanos. We're all about it. We can shout out milestones along the path. All right. Matthews.
I want to shout out the chair of ENA for leading an amazing session yesterday, for the confirmations, and for the amazing caucus today.
Word, Bobby's killing it. All right. If there's no others. Oh, yeah. Sorry, go for it.
I just quickly want to shout out Senator Green for letting him very graciously, he switched seats with me so that I could get into CRT. So, yeah.
Perfect. All right. Yeah, over here.
Shout out Speaker and Pro Temp for starting off strong and doing great. Loving to see what's coming next.
I mean, they're fine. Gaudio.
I do have one more I forgot. Senator Reed for killing it in ENA yesterday.
All right, there we go. Okay, now we're actually done. Perfect. You're out.
I have nothing much to say. I'm currently working on the voting records for the past session, so I appreciate all of your patience. It should be under the voting records under the Senate channel if you want to find it. If there's any other proclamations or internal bill missing from past year, please text me and I'll get that ready ASAP. Thank you.
All right, are there any questions for the advisors? Seeing none, miscellaneous business, more resignations. I hereby resign Nathan Rickett from CRT and Angelique Leon from GAP, and I hereby appoint Nathan Rickett to SBA and Samuel Jolicoeur to FAO.
Sorry, actually, you can't do that one. That was assuming your deputies got confirmed. So that one, there's no seat available yet.
For which one? Okay, I resend it. Elections, I see none. Hamid's super swell Senate apparel ranking. This is what you guys came up with?
Okay, so you know what? Here's my thoughts. I think every single time I'm gonna have Hamid's insert additive ranking, and then you guys, someone can come up with something until I find one that I like.
It's gonna be a long year.
What do you mean? Okay, so I've been thinking about this all meeting, guys. Okay, I have thoughts. Okay, oh God, this is so exciting. Okay, third place, Senator Rohercase. I'm so sorry, that's not your name, but I love your shirt. It's really nice. I love the way it looks. Okay, second place, I'm saying Chair Varela. I've seen this fit on him before, but it looks really good. Could you do a twirl? Because I feel like the jeans also like I've seen this fit, but it like really fits JC, if that makes sense. Okay, and then first place, guys, Vice Chair Chow. I love the fit. Like it's so good. Ugh. And okay, honorable mention, I'll do Anna. I love the shirt, love the fit, and I love the hair. And you know what? I love Ross too. What's wrong with Ross? Also, really quickly while I have the mic. So because the deputies have not been elected, I might not be able to go to every single committee meeting next week. I will be in contact with the chairs though to tell you ahead of time if I cannot be there. Anyway, I'm excited for whatever you guys come up with next, because this will not be staying Hamid's Super Swell Senate apparel ranking. Sorry, Gaudio. It was a good try. I'll give it, wait, let me rank the name. Okay, I'll give it 6.7 out of 10. So we're starting pretty strong. I'm hard to please, but it's okay.
I let you do it last time. Oh, okay, fine. Go on.
You should go to the alphabet and then rate each one.
What?
See pro tip me. Do like A
Like-
next time and be like alliteration for A.
Oh, okay, that could, okay, so that's your guys' job. Next time it's gonna be A.
But next time it's 8:52. Read.
Motion to adjourn pending final roll call.
There's been a motion to adjourn this meeting pending final roll call. Any objections? Seeing none, Chair Gaudio.
I'm doing first names now because we have two Smiths. Senator Luke Paul,
Present.
Senator Anna Reed,
Present.
Senator Olivia Smith,
Present.
Senator Angelia Varghese,
Here.
Senator Gabriel Casimiro,
Present.
Senator Christopher Corelli,
Present.
Senator Samuel Jolicoeur, James Capinos, Senator James Capinos,
Present.
Senator J.C. Lim,
Present.
Senator Sahasra Sadvika,
Here.
Senator Jonah Scott, Senator Ni Chao,
Present.
Senator Shivi Jain,
Present.
Senator Owen Sherman,
Present.
Senator Danae Smith,
Present.
Senator Arwa Ali,
Present.
Senator Melva D, Senator Jason Hamid,
Present.
Senator Ryan Kaufman,
Present.
Senator Nicholas Lux,
Present.
Senator Jordan Metellus,
Present.
Senator Kai Prohl,
Present.
Senator Peter Rorkasa,
Present.
Senator Samuel Rose,
Present.
Senator Grace Rudy,
Present.
Senator Daisy Trejo Hernandez,
Present.
Senator Brandon Kaminsky, Senator Terry Fawcett,
Present.
Senator Mohammed Kidvai,
Present.
Senator Nathan Rickett,
Present.
I am here, Senator Kushi Chauhan,
Present.
Senator Bobby Escobar, Senator Ibrahim Nassim,
Present.
Senator Rose Rodriguez, Senator Katrina Wanjan,
Present.
Senator Ella Weiderberg,
Present.
Senator Corson Green,
Present.
Senator Diana Nguyen, Senator Anthony Bonaventure,
Present.
Senator Veronica Perez,
Present.
Senator Halima Al-Quda,
Present.
Senator El Banesh,
Here.
Senator Jocelyn Candeloro,
Present.
Senator Kirsten Kortz,
Present.
Senator Victoria Jones,
Present.
Senator Angelique Leon,
Present.
Senator Abby Matthews,
Present.
Senator Isabella McRae,
Present.
Senator Spurthi Nurshamadev, Senator Cameron Renda,
Present.
Senator Alex Rosenblum, Senator Maria Simmons, Senator Mila Teodorescu,
Present.
Senator Juan Varela,
Present.
Senator Julie Zivin,
Present.
Senator Jordan Lipner.
Present.
50 out of 58, we have quorum.
Okay, is there a motion to move back to miscellaneous business? Okay, thank you. I hereby appoint Nathan Rickett to the GAP committee.